Awesome. Hello, YouTube. Welcome back to another installment of the 94 podcast. I'm joined here by Coach Chauncy Barefield Williams.
Williams-Barefield.
Williams-Barefield. Excuse me.
It's all good.
Williams-Barefield. So, Coach, really excited to have you in studio. Really excited to just talk football. I'm a big football nerd and love talking football, talk ball. And I'm also joined here by my co-host, Jim Bushy. I can get last names right.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, welcome to the program. I'm just really curious in regards to your background. Can you give us a quick bio of you, Coach?
Sure, man. First and foremost, thank you guys for allowing me to be on the program. And also, one football junkie to another. This is definitely feeding my soul, my spirit, man. I love football so much. And being able to share a little bit about myself, my program, and just kind of vibe with you guys. So very grateful for that. A little background about me. I'm the new head football coach at Hopkins High School. Great opportunity, great school, great community. So blessed to be able to lead that program and to have a great coaching staff and a bunch of great kids, great booster club of support as well in doing what we're going to do there. Prior to Hopkins, though, I was at Brooklyn Center High School as a head coach there for 5 or 6 years. And I was there as an offensive coordinator for a couple of years before that, and then got hired on from an interim head coach to the head coach officially, and had a good run there, and man, made a lot of relationships that'll last a lifetime. Worked with a lot of great kids. The community at Brooklyn Center is great. So it was bittersweet. You know what I'm saying, to leave Brooklyn Center and then go over to Hopkins. But really excited with what Hopkins, that challenge has for us in store, and what the future looks like. Future's really bright, and it's a great time to be a Royal.
Absolutely. It's a great time to be a Royal. And congratulations on the new job as the head coach for the Hopkins Royals. That's awesome. That's awesome. And Jim, I know you're not as familiar being in Green Bay, but I'm sure Jim works at a news station, so he is following just local sports.
Yes,
so,
I am.
Yeah, we definitely support local sports and just definitely get excited, especially around this time of year where everything kicks off.
Oh, yeah, it's cracking.
It's cracking. You got camps going. You got helmets hitting.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about the camps that you guys have already gone through? I think you guys went to UMD, I believe.
Yeah, man. I'd love to share about that. So UMD was a great experience. So we took our kids up there. We had 55 kids. Took a bus up there, coach bus, went in first class, went up there in style. Nice. So that was great.
Swaggy.
Yeah, a little bit. But, one of my things is, our team philosophy is an acronym, and it's go hard, and the hard is an acronym. So it's honest, accountable, relentless, and discipline. Honest, accountable, relentless, and discipline. So part of that relentlessness is always looking for the best possible way and the most, classy and first class way of doing anything, and I can go on a whole spiel about that, but that was part of it. We don't want to roll y'all up there in a school bus. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we're saying we're going to be this program that's going to be top notch, cutting edge, doing big things, moving and shaking, we can't put y'all on the school bus and take y'all 200 miles away and say that we're relentless about our experience. Another thing about us at Hopkins, and part of my philosophy and my vision is that we want to give the kids a world-class, extraordinary football experience. So what that looks like is, if you went to Hopkins, right, and you play football for our program, a lot of kids are looking up at the University of Minnesota Duluth or University of Minnesota Gophers, right? Looking at local colleges, D1 colleges, big-time colleges, and they're like, dude, that's the expectation that a lot of these kids have now, especially if you look at football across the nation, down south especially. Like, it's
SEC.
It's ridiculous.
They roll out the red carpet.
Yeah, the high schools, I'm saying,
high schools,
the facilities and
the Texas,
the campuses, that kind of stuff. So that's my vision. I don't want to just have a football team. I don't want to just be a decent team. I don't want to just be a competitive team, but we want to be a nationally recognized football program. And part of that is providing that experience. So we went up there on that coach bus and had a great time. It was 22 other teams up there, so 23 total teams, all across the upper Midwest. It was teams from Wisconsin that were like state championship contenders, a couple of state champions on different classes in Wisconsin. Obviously, a number of Minnesota schools were there, in-state and out-state, North Dakota, South Dakota. It was pretty dope, man. So we got a chance to put the pads on, again, brand new coaching staff.
Right, brand new.
So, we know the kids' names kind of.
Yeah.
But let alone being able to evaluate each kid, right, and see what they can do and, what our strengths and weaknesses are. There's nothing better than getting them out there and seeing them do it for real.
Exactly.
Everybody looks like a practice All-American when you got the shorts and the T-shirts on. But when those pads come on and it's for real.
It's for real.
That's when we see what people are really made of. And also get to do some introspective work on where we're at and what we need to work on as a coaching staff and, kind of building toward our vision and our scheme that we want to run and things like that, trying to get a better perspective and view of that. So that was great. And we got to have a lot of fun. There was some on the field moments that were great, off the field moments that were great, building community and relationship. That's part of the honesty part, is having an honest, real communication with each other, having a real honest relationship with each other, and nowadays with these kids, bro, if you don't have a relationship with them, you ain't got no chance of coaching.
You have no chance. Yeah.
This is not the old days of I'm the coach and you the player, you better run or else, and cussing kids out and all that. Like that ain't these kids today.
Those days are gone.
Yeah, those days are gone, bro. You got to have some relationship with them and get on their level. Now, obviously, there's a hierarchy and things like that, but within that relationship, that's how you build a hierarchy, not the other way around. You can't reverse engineer it. It has to be upfront done with relationship and communication. So we got a great chance to do that. And then coming back from there, now we got summer camp going in full go. We're really busy. So we got Sunday night, there's offense only, 7-on-7, and kind of like detail-oriented coaching, things like that for the skilled players. On Mondays, we have passing league. We're at a passing league with other 11 or 12 other teams. Some all within kind of the upper Midwest over at Osseo, which is great. So that's another opportunity for the kids to get reps, another opportunity for us to evaluate. And then we have 2 practices a week, Tuesday and Wednesday. And that's weight room, classroom, install, and film, and then we go out on the field for practice for a couple hours. And then on Thursday, we have weight room, install, and film, and then we have just our own 7-on-7 amongst ourselves. So we're getting a lot of work in, man, and that's kind of what our summers look like so far.
Okay, no, that's exciting. It sounds like it's definitely like the beginning starts of a successful regime that we definitely we see that for the Hopkins Royals in regards to, you're building a platform and you start with that foundation. In year one, or most coaches say year 0, because, you're basically starting brand new. Everybody has to earn their spot on the field.
Absolutely. It's a great point you brought that up. So that's a really big point in my core philosophy as a coach and as a leader, and what we've been preaching and teaching so far at Hopkins, and we did it at BC as well. But, everything's earned, nothing's given. Everything's earned, nothing's given. So I don't care who you are. You can be a 3-year starter. You can be the Booster Club president's son. I don't care who you are. Everybody's got to earn it, and we all here to do the same thing, which is to be a part of this team, build this program. And there's nobody bigger than the program, nobody bigger than the team. So every spot right now, there is no depth chart. Like literally, it was kind of funny. One of my coaches, his name is Coach J. Lower. He's our linebackers coach and also special teams coordinator. This dude is like one of them dry humor, quiet but hilarious dudes.
Yeah.
So it was so funny. We were having a little bit of like a offline conversation with some of the kids, and they were like asking questions about positions and that, which is understandable.
It's understandable.
And he was like, "Hey, man, you know what? You want to see the depth chart? Hold on, give me 1 second." He went into his backpack and he got a notebook, right? And it was a blank piece of paper.
Yeah.
Hey, this is the depth chart right here.
Right.
How does that look?
How did that look?
It was hilarious, but that's kind of the point that we're making, is that, again, like you said, and for people that don't know that may be watching the show, our program, we haven't won a football game in over 3 years.
Ooh.
Okay. Wow.
I'll say that again for emphasis. We haven't won a football game in over 3 years. We got senior players who've been playing varsity for, since sophomore or junior year, who've never experienced the joy of winning a high school football game.
Wow.
So we're not in a position for anybody to feel entitled or that anything's owed to them or they got something so great that they can get a shortcut towards the end. No, brother. We are not in that situation. That is not the situation whatsoever. So that point you made about starting over, having that clear perspective of earning a spot. It is something we're talking about on a daily basis.
Okay, most definitely, And then,
So yeah.
Jim, I'll
Yeah.
open the floor for you.
So you said that this is a blank space here. Now you said you've been having these camps and everything. How are you going to approach some kids who are seniors like, I deserve to be first start, I should be starting, I should be always playing, I should all that. How are you going to change, get that mentality into the players? Since you are a new coach to this organization, they're going to be like, hey, I've been here so and so years, I deserve to be here. I understand you just said it's a blank space, but some kids have that mentality of, I paid my dues, I need to be the starter here.
Definitely understand that question. That's a good question. And the foundation of that kind of goes back to what I was saying about having an honest and open relationship with the kids.
Yep.
You know, we're talking about this daily. So that the objective of that is, so there's no surprises.
No surprises.
Right. And also in practices, we're modeling this in practice already. There is no like, hey, here's the first group, and it's the same dudes every time. So if you had a great practice, let's say Tuesday, Wednesday, okay, you may end up being in that first group, hypothetically, right? But let's say you had a bad practice, or you were out there looking lost, like you didn't know what was going on. You could find yourself on Tuesday in group 1, and Wednesday you be in group 2. So it's a modeling and a consistent approach about it. So that way it's not like I said it once and then I'm pulling the rug from underneath you come week 1 of the season. Like, this has been happening every day in practice. You know, another thing we do, we're super competitive. So I literally keep score. I have a scoreboard on the sideline.
Okay.
I keep score throughout practice of offense versus defense. Throughout the practice, who's hustling, who's not hustling,
right?
Who's executing, who's not executing, who's moving the ball down the field in 7-on-7, who scored, all those type of things. We have a metric that we use to score these things. So that way, again, that competition and that earning it principle is ever present at all times. Weight room, we have weight room classes for strength, right?
Okay.
So everything we do, we're measuring and we're setting bars, setting expectations crystal clear, and we're making it a win or a loss thing daily. Drill to drill, day to day, practice to practice, you know, scrimmage to scrimmage. So we're keeping count, keeping score. And again, we're talking about it openly. So we have team meetings every day before we hit the field. Myself and or the coordinators, we get up there and we share it straight up. Like, hey, yesterday quarterback, such and such quarterback, you didn't have a great practice. So to this week, you know, or this practice, this person is going to be number 1. Okay. You know, up at UMD, I didn't make a lot of friends at UMD on a certain couple subjects. One of them was quarterback play. One thing we're blessed with, we have a number of very talented quarterbacks. Like, it's a great problem to have, and also stressful as heck as a quarterback, as a coach.
Right.
You know,
right.
has to make these decisions. Ultimately, the final decision comes down to me. And, you know, I'm leaning on my offensive coordinator and offensive staff to kind of give me the information, their intel, and we collectively kind of, you know, powwow about it. But at the end of the day, it's my decision, right?
Right.
So with that said, you know, we've got a guy who's been there since 9th grade, right? And pretty good, good. Got a lot of talent, a lot of experience. However, hey, I can't just roll into week 1 with you as a quarterback just because you've been here before. And also, for me to do my job, I have a responsibility to this community, to this school, to the AD, to the parents, to the players, to the staff, everybody, to make sure we're properly evaluating. So I had to pull him aside and give him an honest little bit of 2 cents. Like, hey, brother, I'm going to put you on 3rd team. That's not because you did something wrong, but I need to see these other cats.
Right.
My job is to put the best 11 kids out on the field. And how do I know who's the best if I haven't seen them enough properly evaluate and make that decision? So this kind of saying, going back to your point, how do we do this? It's happening constantly, you know, and they have a clear expectation and they've seen it. Because there's another thing as coaches. It doesn't come down to what you say. It comes down to what you actually do, right?
Yeah.
Whatever you ultimately allow or permit, you're endorsing that it's okay, right? Mm-hmm. You know, another thing that I always say, people do what you let them do. Right. So for me, if I'm preaching this from day 1, I got hired in February. I've been talking about this stuff all spring, get into the summer. We're having daily meetings and practice, all this stuff. I'm saying all this stuff, but they don't ever see it implemented. If we're not actually doing this stuff, we're not making these tweaks between practices, during practice. Hey, brother, clearly you're not ready. Hey, go stand over here by coach. If they're not seeing these things happening day to day, week to week, month to month, get into the season. If they're not seeing the habits, the expectations being modeled and implemented, and sometimes ruffling feathers. That's how you make them believe, by actually doing it and putting it into practice consistently.
Okay, so what you're telling me, like in regards to the quarterback's room, it's going to be highly competitive.
It is highly competitive.
Yes.
It is highly competitive.
Okay.
And we had passing league yesterday. Kind of funny.
Okay.
So we've got a couple of older kids.
Okay.
Right? So we got one kid who's a junior, another kid who's a sophomore. Talented. Right? We've got a couple of ninth grade quarterbacks, very talented. Okay. So one of the kids who is kind of a hybrid kid and this kind of big athletic kid, very talented. He didn't get super amount of reps up at UMD just because we, kind of using him in different spots and whatnot. And
so schemes.
Stuff like that and kind of feeling things out. Because, again, it's all about evaluation. So nobody, like we said a million times already, nobody is locked into a spot. Nobody has a designated spot. So here's another good example. Let's say you play wide receiver last 2 years. That don't mean you're playing wide receiver this year.
Right.
If you're not one of the top, XY number of receivers or you can better serve the team somewhere else. Our job is, after proper evaluation, to put you in a spot that's going to best help the team and also help you be successful as a player.
Right.
So with that said, we kind of are moving pieces around and playing chess and whatnot.
Yep.
And having a little fun too. So long story short, this kid gets into passing league yesterday out of nowhere, tearing it up.
Oh, wow.
Noticeably.
Right.
Dropping dots all over the field. It was like
he's turning heads.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, it just got even more interesting. Mm-hmm. It was already interesting and already competitive. So now we have another hat to strongly consider, right? So just kind of saying, like, that our quarterback room is very, very competitive and deep with talent.
Okay. That's definitely something exciting to look forward to. You guys do open up the season August 30th at Shakopee.
Yep.
Correct. Okay, so that's going to be a big game to definitely circle on the schedule. In regards to right now, how's your defense looking? I know we're talking a lot of offense. Let's talk defense.
For sure. Defense is coming along, and here's the thing about defense, and all the defensive coordinators out there that hear this, they're going to be mad at me, or defensive people going to be mad at me.
Yep.
Defense is way easier than offense. Way easier than offense. Offense takes 15 things to go right on one play for you to have success. You got to have a snap, catch the snap, make the right read, throw the right pass, have the receiver run the right route, catch the ball, all these different things. Get the blocking from the O-line, all these different things, right? Defense, ball snaps, the ball is moving to the right. All of them run to the right, tackle the ball at the ball carrier. So naturally what I'm saying is defense always starts a little faster than offense because it's just a little bit simpler on that side of the ball for them to do what they have to do. With that said, defense has been playing pretty well so far. Defensive coordinator is doing a great job of instilling his system. It's different than what we did last year. So there's a lot of learning involved, and also a lot of evaluation. A lot of guys competing for the same spots.
Sure.
So far, so good, though. I'm really excited about what we got going on, and I think we have a pretty good talent group of talent on that side of the ball. And through the summer, with all the work that we're doing, I feel pretty confident going into week one that we'll be ready to play.
Oh, that's exciting. That's exciting. Jim, did you have any question before
to go on this topic, you said defense is easier than offense. If you weren't the head coach and you had to pick a job either on the defensive side or offensive side, which side would you choose and why?
That's a great question. So I spent many years on the offensive side of the ball. So even back going to my semi-pro days, I used to be an offensive coordinator in a semi-pro level, and we had some pretty explosive offenses. When I got hired at Brooklyn Center, I was an offensive coordinator and then rode into head coach. My first year as a head coach, I was the offensive coordinator and head coach, so I called plays and ran the offense. And then I stepped backwards. I had a really talented quarterbacks coach who I trusted and let him take over the offense. He did a heck of a job for us. His name is Nick Liebelt. Unfortunately, no longer with us. He's at Como Park, going to run their offense.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
He's a Como Park High School. Really sharp dude, did great things with us, and it was just a better fit for him, given up the change and everything from BC to Hopkins on a couple of different levels for him to go to Como and consider him like a brother.
Absolutely.
So there ain't no weird,
These coaching circles are like, it's a fraternity.
People come and go and leave, and we were together for 4 or 5 years, and then we may be together again sometime in the future for another 4 or 5 years. That's just the way it works. So it's all good, and nothing but love and support there. But if I had to choose, I would go back to the offensive side.
Offense?
But here's the thing I'll say.
Okay.
In the back of my mind, there is a little voice that's like, you would kick butt on defense. Because in order for you to be a great offensive mind on any level, whatever level you are on, for you to be an offensive coordinator, offensive mind, and be effective, you have to understand defenses. Like you have to almost be an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator that also understand how to attack the defense and use what they're trying to do against them. So you have to know defense equally, almost, I would say, if not better than offense, for you to be really effective with calling plays against the defense. Knowing their reactions, knowing their keys, know how they react, knowing how they line up to certain things, knowing what their checks might be versus certain things, like all those things that you're using as intel to attack them and score points. So I think if I were to move to the defensive side of the ball, I'd be all right.
You'd be all right.
You'd be all right.
I wouldn't say I'd be Bill Belichick,
Right.
I'd be all right.
Okay, most definitely.
Hell yeah.
That's cool. I mean, like in regards to like understanding like both sides of the ball, you got to be so cerebral. You got to have that football IQ to understand the zone and the zone discipline, understanding which player is going to be the main primary target. Is that quarterback? What is their vision level in regards to like, are they scanning the field? Are they just looking to just basically air it out? Or are they just, a check down Charlie? Are they just checking it down?
Absolutely.
In regards to like, similar to like what we see in the NFL, where if a quarterback is a game manager, they're doing a lot of check downs or the Kirk Cousins special. In regards to, you're just dumping it to a running back out in the flat. But in regards to right now in high school football, what do you see the trends? I know we've seen players come and go throughout Minnesota. It's a hotbed for a lot of talent. But what have you seen in regards to the trends? In the 5 years that you were at Brooklyn Center, what did you see in regards to like how the game is played? Is there more passing, or do you think there's a little bit more like an option run?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there is a significant surge in the passing game right now. That's something as a head coach that I've had to embrace and adjust to, especially coming to the 6A level. Like, they going to throw it on you.
Yeah, they're going to throw it.
They're going to throw it on you. Okay, you have certain teams like a Shakopee, who's an under center, ground and pound, wing tee, kind of old school team. At their core, they do some other stuff, right? But that's not all they do. But if they had their will be done, that's what they want to do. And there's certain teams who are like that, who's just been doing it that way, and that's how they're always going to do it, and they're pretty good at it, et cetera.
Absolutely.
But for the most part, that's kind of the exception to the rule now. The majority of teams you're going to see are going to be some version of a spread team, spread offense. They're going to have some running game stuff with read option and stuff like that, but teams want to throw it. And that heavily is influenced by the growth of 7-on-7. 7-on-7 is what happened 20 years ago with AAU basketball. When AAU really kind of got on the scene, and the grassroots stuff kind of took off, and now you had like all these factories across the country where AAU is almost as, if not more important than actual high school basketball, right? So that's a point where we're getting to, we're building towards that with the 7-on-7 in football, where most of these kids are playing football, especially down south, California, warm areas. They're playing football pretty much year round.
Exactly.
7-on-7, and then they come into their high school season and they're doing that, and that's starting to make its way to the Midwest, to where their 7-on-7 is taking off up here as well. So to answer your question more directly, it's definitely more passing. But the one thing, especially in high school football, is I firmly believe if you want to be competitive year in, year out, regardless of your level of talent that you may have, because that comes and goes and ebbs and flows,
Right.
you can run the ball and you can stop the run. You got a chance every season.
Okay. Absolutely. That's the winning formula.
Yeah, run the ball, stop the run.
Running
That's
the ball,
going to
stop
keep you
the run.
competitive. That's going to keep you in every game. But if you have the talent to really kind of feature that passing game, that can take you from being middle of the pack to the top of the pack pretty quickly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Jim, in regards to we got to make it out to a Hopkins game.
You got it.
We definitely got to make it out to Friday Night Lights.
Man,
Oh, Fred.
I'd be honored. I'd be honored, and I'll give you all the gold treatment, man. Roll the red carpet out for you guys, all full access, behind the scenes, get y'all some reserved seats. If y'all want to call the game from up in the booth, or whatever y'all want to do.
I'm with it.
You
I'm
guys,
with it.
Same.
you guys reached out to me and invited me on your platform to talk ball and talk about my program. The least I can do is give y'all the same treatment. So
Appreciate it, brother.
whatever y'all want to do, man, just let me know and y'all got it.
Yeah, we'll definitely coordinate that. Yeah, absolutely.
I got a question for you, and there's something I actually like to ask people when I ask them coaching. What got you into coaching? Did you just play throughout your youth and college, and you're like, hey, I want to coach, or was coaching like someone invited you to do it, and you just like doing it? What got you into coaching?
That's a great question, man. And it started when I was in high school. I played high school football at Como Park over in St. Paul. I was solid. I was an okay player.
Shout out Como Park.
Big time. Go Cougars.
Go Cougars.
That's the only other team, I guess, in BC, too. I'm always going
NBC, yeah.
I got a split heart, right? Part of my heart's black and gold from my Como years, obviously. Part of my heart's going to always have a little purple in it, and then we represent the blue big time.
Oh, right.
Big time right
Big
now,
time.
baby.
Right.
But going back to what you asked me is when I was playing high school football, I always wanted to know why. Like, why are we doing this? Especially this is old school football. This is back in the day of, hey, this is what we do.
Yep.
Do what I tell you to do.
My way or the highway.
There wasn't a whole lot of asking why. And I wasn't like butthead kid that's always trying to butt you and question you. But I was just like really want to understand why, right? Why are we doing this? Well, why do we run these plays? Or, what is the objective behind what we're doing, right? And I remember like yesterday, the first time that I really had a question mark, it was like, I was sitting down, I was talking to our offensive coordinator and just kind of like shooting the crap. And I asked him, like, Coach, and I didn't even know what it was called, straight up.
Okay.
But I was asking him, why don't we run power?
Right.
I was like, I've seen teams, whatever on TV or Madden or whatever.
Whatever
like,
it is.
Yeah.
There's a certain
They
play.
run power, right.
I didn't know what it's called. So
Yeah.
I was kind of describing it to him. Like, they have people that go from one side of the ball like to the other side, and like the running back like follows them and stuff, because at the time I was a fullback and a guard, kind of like a hybrid player.
Right.
I was 5'10", like 215,
Sure.
right? 205.
Right. Sturdy.
Sturdy, but
Yeah.
I wasn't like a world beater, so I wasn't super fast. I wasn't
Right.
super athletic, but I was like a weird dude that can do both. I was athletic enough to be a ball carrier and a blocker, as
Right.
a fullback,
Right.
and I was strong. I was super strong. That's all I had the choice. I could, if I was the only brother that wasn't a super fast, super athletic cat,
Right.
One of the rare ones.
Another rare.
Like I wasn't.
Were you like a Brandon Jacobs?
Kind of, sort of, but I'm
Kinda,
short.
sorta. You were short.
Yeah, I'm short though.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So
He's
I was like
taller,
a poor man's, Mike Allstott.
Mike Allstott.
That was my favorite player. My
Okay.
favorite player is Mike Allstott. So that's who I kind of modeled my game after when I was a little fullback. I played, you know what I'm saying? So had the big shoulder pads and neck roll and everything.
The neck roll.
I had it all.
I love it.
It was pretty dope. But going back to my point,
Yes.
question, to answer your question, man, and this is the football nerd coming out, so y'all got to work with me.
All good, all good.
And help me get back on choice if I'm getting too far off the rabbit.
This is a safe space.
So straight up, I was just like, back then we ran a lot of like, now that I know, we ran like 22 personnel, which is 2 tight ends, 2 backs, and we ran like lead, off tackle lead and stuff like that. Old school smash mouth, early 2000s football.
For sure.
So I was like, the leads and stuff is cool, right? But I was like, well, we have the people on the field. That's what I recognize. I'm a fullback in this scheme. I'm the lead blocker.
Right.
I'm like, well, what if I were to go over to this side to the right, and then we pulled one of the linemen over there with me, so we would have more people over there. This is just a curious question.
Right.
And he was like, and kind of gave me the coach answer, like, yeah, that's something we could do, da-da-da-da, but, this is why we don't do it, blah, blah, blah. And then later in the season, we actually started running a little bit of power. It was pretty cool. So it was like, oh, okay, cool. So I get a kick out the end, and he had the guard wrapping around.
Yep.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But that was the first time that I realized, like, I kind of like the nerdy aspect of why.
The why behind it.
Yes.
Why do we do stuff?
The chess moves.
Why don't we pull somebody? As pulling somebody or having a lead blocker and or both will give us a numbers advantage. That's what I was thinking. Like, we would have more. Again, I don't know how to articulate all this.
Yeah.
I'm 17.
Yeah.
But I'm like, we would have an obvious numbers advantage on that side of the ball. And then we had a great running back. His name was Gabe Bates. This dude was ridiculous. Like, look him up. Shout out Gabe Bates. Led the league. I led our conference many times in rushing. I believe he was all-state honorable mention as a junior, like straight up dog.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, I'm the fullback. I'm the protector.
Yep.
Like, I'm thinking, like, how can we get Gabe off?
Right.
Like, you would think I would be selfish, like, why don't we run more fullback dive, right?
True.
How can we get some more belly up in here?
Come on now. Right.
How could the belly get a couple more totes a game? But I was just like thinking again, like, if we got this great back, what else can we do to get him more yards? He gonna be the one. The reason why we win, we ain't gonna win because Chauncy getting 4 yards to carry on fullback dive.
Right.
But we'll win if homie's ripping off 20-yard runs.
Absolutely.
So I'm like, So I'm like, well, why don't we run power? So that kind of started me thinking. Then, after, kind of working with him some more and this kind of talking stuff, and kind of learning a little bit more about the whys and talking to the coaches more, kind of being around the coaches. I was like that kind of like leader, senior leader, kind of part of the coaching staff, extension of the coaching staff type guy, and start kind of understanding why. So then after I graduated, Como had some like summer camps for the youth.
Okay.
So I was like, hey, I got camp coming up. I was graduated. Can I help out? Yep. Boom. Yep. You sure can. So then the team I played youth ball for, North Area Rec Center, I played for them, and then I coached for them for a few years. Like, okay, learning again how things work, and then kind of translating my knowledge of the game to that level. And then after the first season, the head coach, who actually also coached me and was the parent of one of my high school classmates, really cool guy, he let me run the offense. It was his system, right?
His system,
but he let me put my little 2 cents. Put my little 2 cents in there, and kind of let me use my little creativity. And then after that, dude, it was no looking back. I was like, wait a second. I started learning, like I talked about earlier, like, well, if they line up like this, and we do that, little chess moves. Like, okay, ooh, boom, that works. Oh man, that'll work. Okay, and I was hooked. Like, that whole strategy piece. Yeah, X's and O's and the strategies and the Y's and all that minutia, deep, dark, nerdy stuff.
Right.
Of football
you were in the
coaching.
tree chops, and then you got into the weeds.
Yes. I straight up baptized into it and never looked back. And then obviously, as I got older, and at the time I was very, very involved in my church. So I was a youth minister for many, many years. At around the same time, so at 17, I came to Christ and got saved. And then the youth ministry did so much for me that kind of in the same principles, like I asked my pastor at the time, like, hey, I just want to help continue this, right? This did all this stuff for me. This is so dope. Like, I don't know where I would be without this youth ministry. I just want to make sure that I could help you however you need help. I'm like, can I set up tables for you? Can I go get the pizza? I had a little car, I was moving. I can go pick up stuff.
Right.
Kind of the same thing. And then sure enough, after a few weeks of me serving and then giving a couple little prayers and a couple little messages, pastor never came back. And then I was a youth minister.
You were the youth minister, right.
So I did the same thing. It's like, okay, I developed a really deep sense of connection to the youth, because I know what the church did for me. I know what football did for me, and I might do whatever I can do to kind of pay that forward and help as many young people as I can. That passion doubled down with football. It was like, dude, I don't know if they're next to the military, right? And that's obviously after your adolescence.
Right.
That's after.
That's after.
Next to the military, if there was a such thing as like teenage military, I don't know if there's more of a developmental tool than football that we could ever get, right?
Right.
So for me, when I seen how those intersected, my calling and my passion for young people, for people in general, gift in the game that the game gives us with the opportunity to play, coach, develop, be a part of it. family atmosphere of camaraderie, the pouring into young people, develop them, especially young men. I've been hooked ever since, bro.
That's triple F right there. Faith, family, and football.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love that.
I kind of switch it. I call it God family football.
God, family,
Very
football.
Yeah.
Amazing. I love it.
And football for me is absolutely a calling. You know, that's one thing I wrestled with it for many years. So check this.
Okay.
There's still a calling on my life to do ministry, to preach and teach, and one day probably have my own church one day.
One day.
But God showed me this about 5 years ago. So at the beginning of my tenure at BC, it was like, look, I'm not a perfect person. However, football is my ministry. The same way you teach and preach behind a pulpit, right?
Right.
Or in a church or a synagogue.
Yep.
I'm doing the same thing with these young men on a day in, day out basis, you know, year in, year out basis, where I'm teaching them the principles of hard work, sacrifice, discipline, accountability, success principles, life principles, helping them through situations, navigating certain things, all the things that you would get from a church. You know, we can't openly talk about faith in God and things like that in church, but it's the principles, right? So I just embrace it. You know, when God showed that to me, I just embraced it. And it just kept coming to me so strong that I couldn't argue with it no more. That football is my ministry.
That's amazing. That's like the servant leadership, and then also just looking out for the youth, making sure that they're on the right path.
Right.
Because there's so many times that they can take that left turn and then be off that track, where you know they could be so successful and be able to attend a university, you know, attend education, higher ed, and then you know it doesn't have to be football after.
For sure.
You know, they participate in your program. It's just like you just want to make sure that they are a positive member of society.
Absolutely. And what's cool that we got going on at Hopkins now is we have tracks built out post-graduation, right? So we're building kids towards these different tracks. So a couple of the tracks are military, right?
Right.
Because everybody's not going to go to college.
Right.
We want them all to go, you know, because that's an option, but it's not for everybody, right? So obviously option A traditionally would be go to college. So at Hopkins, they got that covered, bro. Like they have a whole college preparation center. So if you're remotely interested in college, even playing sports in college, they got it all right there. All you got to do is walk in there and raise your hand. I want to go to college. I want to play college football. It's built out. And you've seen people like Paige Buchers and others that come to Hopkins. Like, if you want to play sports.
Shout out to UConn. Hello.
Whether you're at that level or not, you know, those are some super special exceptions to the rule, right? But if you want to play at any level, whether it be JUCO all the way up to big time D1, they got you there.
They got you there.
But it's our job to make sure you're doing the things day in, day out, week in, week out, to make sure you're keeping your grades to a certain level, your behavior, all that kind of stuff. But we steer them towards that. Another thing we have is a trades track. So college ain't for you? Cool. Hey, going into a trade is a great occupation, brother. You can graduate from high school, get started in this trade as an apprentice, and you can be making $25 to $30 an hour pretty much right away.
Absolutely.
After 4 years, you're making $55,000 to $65,000 a year, no debt. Making $150,000, no bills, no overhead, and second to none medical coverage for you and your family at like 25.
Come on. Right.
There ain't nobody mad but the devil about you going into a trade. And that's one of our tracks. Like, hey, if you don't want to go to college, go into a trade. And then the third one would be military. You know, and then obviously we have we're building out connections with each branch. You know, we don't have them in place yet, but it's part of our vision. So, hey, I want to go to Air Force. Hey, go talk to, you know, Admiral XY.
XY, right.
Hey, I want to go Army. I want to go Marine. Boom. I'm going to go National Guard. Boom. Got all that set for you. And then also with me and this our staff, we have a really nice blend of people on our staff. So if there is things like, hey, I want to get into business, like I'm a real estate agent. You know, that's what I do per day. So if you want to get into real estate or you want to get into owning your own business or you want to get into content creation or whatever, we have enough people on our staff to kind of help to kind of germinate those ideas and get them on the right track. And we're also looking at building relationships with people that we can kind of send them to, like, hey, this person wants to be a YouTuber. You know how that is.
Right.
Cool. Hey, we got a couple of YouTubers we could send you to, right? So you can get some game on how to do that. You know, hey, we got a couple of business owners in these types of businesses. Hey, we could send you down that path. So we got these tracks that we're creating and building out right now. So that way we can ensure each kid has a successful transition after Cool.
That's amazing.
That
That's
is-
amazing. I mean, you guys have like a great pipeline in regards to like
Yeah.
just career development outside of the classroom. You know, once they're graduated, you know, like you said, not everybody's going to go to college. That's like number one option, but it sounds like they have all the options available to them.
And that's it, man. And like you said, and we've said it many times, our job as coaches is to try to be somebody that's going to steer them in the right direction and help them to be successful on whatever they want to do in life. You know what I mean? So whatever it is, it's our job to kind of help be a connection point and also, you know, that motivation and accountability to help them get there. You know, one thing I'm big on is vision. You know, the Bible says, "For there is no vision, the people perish." And I'm really big on that. Like, if you don't have a goal, if you don't have a dream, if you don't have a vision, if it's not written down, you don't have a plan, like, you're just not going to do much, you know, and you're going to waste valuable time. That's one thing I've become very, very present about in this day and age, that time is the most valuable commodity there is. Like, once it's gone, it's gone. You can't get it back. And, you can't pray for it. You can't cry about it. Like, every second, every day is precious. You know, the Vikings player, you know, who just lost his life.
Right.
Yeah.
Drunk driver, wrong place,
Tyree
wrong time.
Jackson.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't know his name.
Yeah, no, you're a total fan.
But yeah, I mean, that young brother just reached his goal in life. I'm in the NFL. I'm playing for the Vikings. Hey, man, life is great. And then, bam, you know, I can imagine the loss for his family and his circle. But just saying, like, here one day,
I'm on
next.
on next, right?
Oh, you know, I preach that a lot with our kids. Like, you know, while you're in high school, dude, turn up, do everything. That's one thing I had. One of my biggest regrets, and I'm getting really, really into some other stuff.
Sure.
Is I was talented as a wrestler and a baseball player.
Okay.
If I'm being deadly honest, I was better at baseball than football.
Okay.
But at that time, especially in that particular school, football was kind of like football and basketball were like the black sports.
The black sports. Okay.
So playing baseball was dubbed a white sport.
The white sport,
Right.
Yeah. You were the outlier, and
I was really good at it.
Yeah, you were really good.
I was recruited as an 8th grader for wrestling and for baseball much more than football. I was really good at football too, but it was like schools were coming to see me, like, hey, this kid's hitting all these home runs. He's a good catcher. Like, who is this kid? Wrestling, same thing. I was second in the city as a wrestler, and I dropped weight from heavyweight to like 176.
Okay.
For the city tournament, I was number 2. And it's like, hey,
amazing.
I had a number of schools like, yo, we got a spot for you.
You got a spot, yeah.
But not being strong enough as a person, not having maybe the best structure, you know, at home, not having strong enough leadership skills to dare to be different, I just kind of went with the flow. I was the sheep.
Mm-hmm.
I just did what everybody else did. All the brothers was playing football, cool, I'll play football too. All the brothers was playing basketball, okay, I'll do that. Then I kind of phased out of basketball, okay, I'll just lift weights in the winter. The weight room and the wrestling room were connected. The weight room is literally right here.
Yep.
I'm in there squatting and benching and deadlifting.
Yep.
And they in the same room, I can look and see the wrestlers.
You can see the wrestlers, right?
I could have literally walked across the mat and got on a wrestling mat.
Yep.
And because I was too weak mentally.
Yeah, mentally. Yeah.
I didn't. So I always use that story with my players. Like, don't be like me. Don't be the one that has something in their heart or something you want to do here in school. When you have it, the one time to do it, do everything. Join the math club, join the debate club, go to every dance. That's the other thing too about dances nowadays. The kids feel like they're too cool for the dance.
They're too cool for that dances.
Go to all the,
go to them.
Even if you feel like they lame, go to them anyway.
Go to them, right?
You know,
you'll thank yourself later.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The memories are invaluable. Man,
absolutely.
Even though I didn't want to go, me and my buddies were there. We had a good time, whatever, all that stuff. So that's one thing I'm always preaching is do everything. And relentless. That comes back to that.
Yeah. Right.
Do everything. Do it to the full. Don't leave any stone unturned. Go hard. Do it all. And that's kind of where that originated. Looking back at the things that I didn't do. Looking at the things that I settled for in my life. I'm determined never to do that again, and also try to instill that and teach that to others. Like, don't settle.
That's a message to everybody watching at home. Make sure to, basically listen to that. Do everything. Do everything. Go crazy in regards to you're too young to right now to limit yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
One more point on that. The only thing that'll happen if you went for something and really gave it your everything.
Yes.
And let's say you failed. The only thing that's going to happen, you're going to learn from it. That's one thing I preach all the time as a person as well as a coach is you never truly lose. You always learn. So even if you went after X, Y, and you failed or didn't get it, didn't work out, didn't pan out, there's going to be things that you're going to add to your tool belt, and you're going to put in your breadbasket, your journey of life. Things you're going to gain from that experience. That's going to pay off in the future exponentially. And then also, not to mention, you just have the nerve built up. You'll have those guts built up. You'll have that scar tissue of going for things and failing and being comfortable with failing. A lot of times we don't do stuff because we're afraid of the feeling of failure. That's why we don't do it. I'm going to look stupid. I'm going to fail. I don't know how to do this, or people are going to laugh at me or whatever. The more you fail, the more you get laughed at, the more you don't get it, the more you fall short, the easier it becomes.
Absolutely.
It's easier to fail.
It is.
Right? And then the more you fail and the easier and more comfortable you get with failure, the more time you can take the shot. You know, I always say you miss every shot you don't take. The more time you can pull up and take that shot or whatever, go for whatever opportunity, you're going to have more success than failure.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But we don't.
Right.
Because we're afraid of failing.
We're afraid of failing.
But if we knew that it takes failure to succeed,
right,
we wouldn't be as afraid of failure. But a lot of times we feel like that failure is just going to be so catastrophic that I just can't. And so
it's going to stop everything for me.
It's going to stop everything. It's going to ruin my life. The world's going to come to an end.
Right.
And then it's the social media.
No one's going to love me anymore.
All that stuff.
Yeah. All that stuff.
The
anxiety takes over.
The anxiety and the fear takes over. And just if you only knew the failing part brings you to the success part.
Absolutely.
You probably wouldn't be as afraid.
You got to be willing to fail forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The faster you do it, the quicker you get to your success. Go ahead, Jim.
That's a great motto. You never truly lose. You either win or you learn, and that's a great motto to have. One of the questions I have to you, you touched on post high school career, college, military, trade school. These are students, athletes. I know a lot of places you go to, kids think they're athletic students. How do you make sure all the athletes playing on your team are doing good in their classes? They're not skipping, they're not trying to be this cool kid like, oh, I don't need to go to class, I play on the football team. Like, how do you make sure your kids are not only getting good at the athletics but good as the good at school?
Yeah, I totally get it. It's a great question. So definitely we're preaching student first, academics first. So a couple of things we do is we monitor it very closely. So at Brooklyn Center and moving now into Hopkins, we're going to get a daily report of attendance. And our rule is if you miss a class, you miss a quarter.
Okay.
Wow.
If you miss a class, you miss a quarter. So you can be all American.
I love that though.
At quarterback or whatever position, you can be Mr. Somebody, and you skip science, you cooked. That's one quarter. So let's say you missed two classes in 1 week. That's a half.
That's a half gone.
Let's say you skip 3 classes in 1 day, bro. You down to the fourth quarter. At that point, we might as well not even play you.
Right.
Like, what you gonna do? Get warmed up in the middle of the third and be ready to play in the fourth? Nah, bro, that ain't happening.
No.
So that's the number one, is we monitor it very closely, and then we have steep punishments for it. Because here's the thing. If you're not gonna be committed enough and trustworthy enough to show up, that's another thing. Dog.
Dependability.
Life.
Right,
Life really comes down to consistently showing up. If I can't get you to consistently show up to class, how can I consistently have you show up and block this 5 technique every play?
Exactly.
How can I have you consistently show up and make sure the Mike backer doesn't kill our quarterback when he blitzes the A gap if he's a running back, just hypothetically.
Right.
But if I can't consistently get you to show up to the thing that really matters, is school, I can't trust you to show up when it comes to football. If you're taking shortcuts there, you're going to be taking shortcuts when it comes to football. So we punish very stiff from that, and we take away what they want. Everybody wants to be out there on Friday night. Let's be honest. And especially in the Instagram world.
Oh, come on now.
Oh, my God.
They having whole photo shoots before the game.
They're doing whole reels, right? Photo shoots.
Come on, man. Like,
Hollywood.
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a portion of the team, on any team, that only is there to wear their jersey and look swaggy fresh for Friday night, or even during the season. that picture with the helmet on. Look
Yeah.
at me and my visor. Look at my new gloves.
Look at my new gloves.
Look how dripped out I am.
Look how dripped we are in the New Jerseys, right?
Yeah, but you find out when the rubber meets the road, who really is committed to the team what we're building if they consistently show up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The kids that show up to class, every freaking class, they come to practice, every practice, and they're giving us their best, every practice, every drill. Those are the dudes that I call my soldiers. And being a soldier, for me, is a high recognition. Like, hey, Aiden is as a soldier.
That's a soldier.
Yeah.
Right.
And what I mean by that, I can trust you. I can go to war with you. Dude, we're going out here. And let's be honest, they're going out here to put their bodies on the line Friday night.
Absolutely. In the trenches.
In the trenches. And also, Hopkins is 6A football. Listen, so people who don't know, there's 6 classes of football. We at the top of the food chain.
Yep.
We playing the best of the best.
Best of the best.
Yes. Best of the best players. In most part.
In most parts.
In most parts.
Right.
In most parts. So there's going to be talented kids on all levels, so don't get me wrong.
Yes.
But for the most part, it's going to be the best players and the best coaches on our level. Every night we go out, we going to war. Believe that. And I want to be able to go to war with kids that I know is down and going to give me everything they got.
You need soldiers
count
out
them.
there.
Yes.
I can count on them. I can trust them. I know they're going to be in their spot. They're going to do their job to the best of their ability, regardless of talent. That's why we go back to nothing given, everything's earned. That's the principle coming back full circle is that this kid earned it. Yeah, he may not be as fast as Johnny. Yeah, he may not be as athletic as Tom. But listen, this brother's going to show up. He knows his job, and he's going to do his job. That's our definition for accountability. Knowing my job, doing my job, and making zero excuses. Knowing my job, doing my job, and making zero excuses.
Zero excuses.
That's a definition of a soldier right there. I know this cat is going to be in his place. He's going to do his job, and it's not going to be no my bads and oops and nuh-uh. Those kids who typically are the skipping class kids, the kids with the bad grades, those are the ones that you got to micromanage. Those are the ones that we got to babysit. Those are the ones that don't watch film.
Right.
Those are the ones that don't know the plays. Those are the ones, and they may be talented. Those are the ones that we're going to have to put extra effort into to make sure they're ready to play. And we do that. That's why we're here. However, if you're going to be someone that I consider a soldier, you're going to be the one that's earning starting positions. You're going to be ones getting extra recognition. You're going to be the one getting all the stars and stuff on the helmet. You're going to be the one to have a C on your chest to be a captain. You need to be a soldier. You need to be somebody who shows up consistently. And if you don't, there's consequences.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You got to be able to know your job, do your job, and make zero excuses.
Zero.
Yes.
I'm going to adopt that for the 94 podcast.
You got it.
Yeah.
Hey, man. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely. And then that transitions to a question that it did pop in my brain. For the captains, like when are you selecting your captains? I know that it's a little bit closer to the season.
If we get to the point of week 1 and people have separated themselves. So I have a very, very strong opinion on captains.
Okay.
Captains to me is somebody who models all of our expectations and have shown the ability to be a positive influencer. Leadership boils down to influence, period, point blank, end of story. So we had a preseason leadership luncheon where I talked about leadership from my philosophy, leadership in our program, and also this leadership in general, right? And I gave this example, and the kids looked at me crazy, and some of them actually pushed back, which I like. Because, again, we have that dialogue in that space with the honesty piece where we can communicate.
You can communicate.
You know, if you disagree, okay, I'll listen to you. And ultimately, most times I'm going to be right.
Right.
But I do want you to feel safe with being able to communicate. That's what relationships are all about.
For sure.
So sure enough, we're in the luncheon. And I said, and I kind of set it up slowly but surely. Leadership is the influence and, getting people to do things or to be a positive influence to encourage others to do things or people to model their life and their walk after you, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I kind of slowly built up to this point. I say, who are great leaders that I really, really admire their leadership?
Who?
Osama bin Laden.
Oh, yeah, they definitely look at you wild.
Adolf Hitler.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
They were like, what?
What?
Huh?
Right.
Are you kidding? Like someone wanted to swear at me. Like what?
Yeah.
But I broke it down. Think about it. Osama bin Laden was hiding in a cave for, from what I understand, decades.
Decades. Yeah.
Yeah.
Given the order from a cave for thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people through his word,
Through his word. Yeah.
carrying out terroristic attacks all over the world.
Right.
That ain't influence. If I'm hiding in a cave and I say, this is who our team is,
Yeah.
this is how we're going to practice, this is how we're going to play, this is who you're going to be, this is my expectation, then I can do that from a cave and you never even seen me before, you never even met me before. Like most of these people, 98% of them have never even seen him in person.
Yeah. Right.
And obviously they got to keep everything low key. I mean, this dude's operating from a cave, so they're
a
not
cave.
having Zoom meetings.
No, they're not doing Zoom.
But at the mention of his word,
Mention of his word.
go do this, and it gets done. And it's destructive and terrible.
Right.
Killing thousands. Hundreds of thousands of people
100,000 people. Right.
at his word. If that ain't influence, I don't know what is.
It may be evil, but it's influence.
It's
Yes.
The point is,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
influence.
It's influence. Right.
Same thing. Hey, we're going to take out all these people
Yep.
because we're the superior people, whatever. This is our belief.
Right.
At my word, we're doing this thing. Jim Jones. Hey, let's all go to this island, drink this juice.
Yes.
We're gonna take
Yep.
ourselves out.
Yep.
And they did it.
And they did it. Right. The
Yeah.
cult. Right.
Gang leaders. Why do people join gangs? Because they want to be a part of something.
wanna be a part of
There's a
something.
gang leader that tells everybody what to do. Now, on the flip side of that, positive
Positive.
influences. You can have that influence on your teammates to be that person of positive influence,
Right.
modeling the expectations of our program daily, being a positive voice of hope, of encouragement for your teammates, being that person that comes in early, leaves late, being the person that puts in the work day in, day out, being accountable, you knowing your job, doing your job, and not making the excuses. That's a leader. And also the person that consistently shows up. I can't tell you I'm your coach, but you never see me.
Yeah.
Right. It won't work.
You can't be a husband or a wife and you're never home.
Right.
You can't be the owner or restaurant owner and you're never around.
Yeah.
But part of your leadership and your influence is how consistently you are and you show up and who you are when you show up. You can't be a different person every day.
No. Gotta be consistent.
Got to be consistent in who you are. And part of that is knowing who you are, but being who you are every day. And for me as the leader of our program, if one day I'm high, I'm positive, I'm excited and
You're the
everything's
same.
cool,
Yeah.
everything's great.
Yeah.
And the next day I come in, I'm low as the floor and I'm negative, chewing everybody out. Am I a positive influence or a negative influence? Can you trust my influence? Can you trust who I am?
It's a roller coaster.
It's a roller coaster, and that ain't leadership. So my point is with captains, coming all the way back to captains, exactly. Made that point super duper crystal clear. Like until I see individuals who are displaying that level of influence, I ain't naming no captains. I ain't got no captains.
Okay. It's just like the depth chart. It's blank right now.
It's
Yeah.
blank. We ain't got no captains.
Okay.
And here's another thing about me and my captains. You don't have to be a senior to be a captain.
Love that.
Love it.
Leadership is leadership. Influence is influence. If I got a 10th grader who is doing everything that we're asking for, and he has truly separated himself, he's a captain. I'm looking for influencers, not an age, not a grade.
Right.
I'm
Right.
looking for influencers. And let's be honest, we're taking over a program that ain't 1 in 3 years. We got a lot of freaking influence we got to do.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So as many
see the
strong
change.
influencers that we can have on our coaching staff, and then obviously the captains are an extension of the coaching staff.
Exactly.
As many of those strong influences we can get, the better. But until they separate themselves, we ain't got no captains. So last year at Brooklyn Center, it was crazy. I never actually named captains at Brooklyn Center last year.
Okay.
We had a handful of kids who were consistently modeling
Those behaviors.
and influencing.
Right. And influencing.
Yeah.
We had one that I considered a captain, but looking back at it, I don't think I ever said these are our captains.
Okay. Okay.
Because here's the deal, and it's not so much for them that I didn't feel like they were up to snuff, but I would rather watch and see you lead versus to give you a title that makes you the leader.
Yeah.
That's deep. That's real. Yeah.
And then I always use this principle too of the obvious choice. Here's my explanation of the obvious choice. The obvious choice is it's so clear that X person is X thing that if I don't recognize it, I should be fired. It's so clear that you're the starting quarterback. You've separated yourself. It's without question. It is obvious. You're the obvious choice that if I don't play you at this position, I should be fired. Literally, like for negligence. At this point, this is negligent coaching. It's so obvious. So put me in a position to make my job easy by separating yourself so much that it's obvious.
It's obvious, right?
We all can be here for a long time. Don't get me fired.
Exactly. Yeah.
Separate. Be that person.
Be that person.
We talk about that all the time with our program too. It's like so many kids, and you see it. Like we had passing league last night.
Okay.
And we're watching the kids. The kids, they're on the field, and the ball's in the air, and they know they can intercept it.
Yep.
But they pull the punch. They don't just go.
They don't go, right?
Yeah.
They kind of go, but they don't go.
Right.
Sometimes
they're tapping the brakes, Yeah.
It's like it's like being in traffic and you see that little hole where you can get into. Instead of this and just hitting the gas and going.
Make your move.
They hold back. And that's part of the thing that the principle we always talk about is like, again, the relentless part, like, dude, never hold back. Don't be that person. Don't allow yourself, like I used my example earlier, don't just be a part of the group. Don't be the sheep. Don't be afraid to stand out. Don't be afraid to be enthusiastic. Don't be afraid to be the one going 110 miles an hour during sprints. Don't be afraid to be the one making noise while you lift weights. Like, don't be afraid to be the one that stands out, because what happens is if you're having that inkling on the inside of you for you to stand out, what's happening is that's the inkling for you to pull people with you. They're waiting for you.
They're waiting for you.
If you're the one that goes hard, like really goes hard,
spearhead,
then it makes it okay for me to go hard.
Yeah.
Then we can go hard.
Right.
So you, me, then we. But sometimes what happens is we all kind of be stuck. First gear.
First gear.
Can I
make that move? Yeah.
And we never really pop the clutch and really go. So that's the principle that we're trying to instill too with the obvious choice. Like, dude, be that guy, be that dude. We want and
make those splash plays.
Yeah, our culture, we're a weird we have a weird culture. Like, we want to talk trash and be very, very competitive.
Yes.
Right. We want to have all that testosterone, all that swag. But at the same time, we're not going to be that team that's dirty.
No.
Yeah.
Not having class.
Right.
None of that.
Getting ejected.
Yeah. Cussing and all that wild foolishness stuff. No, we're not condoning that. But dude, this football is a testosterone sport.
Absolutely.
Yes. It's okay for you to be a lion out here. I mean, we are the Royals.
Yeah,
It's okay for you to be a lion.
It'd be a lion.
Be the alpha.
Yeah.
Stand out.
Yeah.
Be the king of the jungle.
Be the king of the jungle.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And then we talk about these depth chart situations. We waiting for somebody. We say it every week. We waiting.
Oh yeah.
We waiting for somebody. We waiting for somebody to step up. We still waiting.
We waiting.
We waiting. We're gonna do it. Who's gonna be the one?
Exactly.
Who's gonna take charge? Who's gonna be the one? That's another thing I always say too. Is like, I'm the cat, and I'm the head coach.
You're the head coach.
I'm the head coach.
Yes.
The coaches are the coaches. It's y'all team though.
Hey.
Y'all team. We're here to provide leadership, structure, accountability. We're here to drive the bus. We're here to drive the ship. Let's say our team's a cruise boat. We're gonna drive the boat.
Right.
We're gonna be heading towards the right direction. But the strength of the cruise boat is the staff.
Yes.
All the staff.
Y'all the staff. Right.
This is y'all's boat.
Exactly.
Like, they didn't come here to see Chauncey.
No, they didn't come here to see Chauncy.
They not coming on Friday night to see me.
Uh-uh.
And I'm really intentional, man. I'm kind of like the weirdest person. Like, I'm a introverted extrovert.
Okay.
Right. If I had my way, y'all would never see Chauncey.
Right. Yeah, you would
Go ahead.
disappear. Right. You'd be
every time during the Pep Fest and stuff like that over the years, they want me to come out and say a bunch of stuff, and I can. I mean, I'm not afraid to speak. I mean, public speaking is not a fear for me. I mean, my preaching background, teaching, coaching, real estate, I can do all that.
It's a gift. It's a gift for you.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
but I understand that they're not here for me.
They're not here for you.
I'm here for them.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
They
but
just
they're
need,
not here for me.
yeah, they're not here for you. You're here for them.
I'm here for
Yeah.
them. So I'm waiting for y'all to step forward. I want to fall to the back. I'm trying to put y'all in the front. I'm trying to put y'all on. I'm trying to give y'all the spotlight. I'm trying to help y'all win games. I'm trying to help y'all have the fun. I'm trying to help you get the touchdowns. I'm trying to help you get scholarships. I'm trying to help you go to college. Like, bro, this ain't about me. We're trying to put you on. Step out.
Step out.
We're waiting for y'all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is another message. Step out. Come on.
Do something. No, not to preach, but
Yeah.
you know, there's a story in the Bible about Peter and the disciples were all on a boat and they were going from one side to another on a certain lake, and Jesus had went ahead of them.
Yes.
Right? Man, this is one of my
Right.
favorite stories, and Peter's one of my favorite people because he's just like me.
Mm-hmm.
I really identify with Peter,
Okay.
100%. And the reason why is that in this particular passage, Jesus had gone ahead of them
Yes.
to go wherever they were going.
Right.
And the disciples were on the boat following him
They were
later.
following.
He told them to do some stuff, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
But the point is, Jesus came walking to them on the water in the middle of the night.
Right.
Everybody else in the boat was terrified to the point the Bible says they were almost at death. They were so scared they literally almost were scared to death.
Scared to death. Right. Right.
But
Right.
that's probably where it came from.
Where it came from.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, I was scared to death. But that's the principle. It came from that. But here's the point of the story I'm trying to make is that everybody else was scared to death. Peter was like me. He was just crazy enough to be like, Jesus is telling me literally to come walk to him on the water.
Right.
He had to get out of the boat. All my boys, they scared.
Right.
They cowering in the corner.
Right.
And let's say there was 2 or 3 of them that were a little curious like Peter. They weren't courageous and bold enough to separate from being scared with everybody else. So sometimes it's more comfortable that even when you're not scared to pretend to be scared because everybody else is scared.
Right. To
I'm
fall
falling
in.
back into the group. I'm going to be a part of the group.
Yeah.
So in this example with Peter had just enough a little bit of crazy in him to be like, you know what? What if I did? Because Jesus was saying, come, walk to me on the water.
Right.
Don't be afraid. Jesus
Don't
literally
be
said, it's
afraid.
me. It's
me.
your friend. Come walk to me on the water.
Right.
I'm like the coach. I'm not saying I'm Jesus,
No.
but me as a coach, I'm saying, come on. This is the plan.
Right.
This is the path. This is what we got to do. This is
where we're
all
going.
it takes.
Yeah.
Right.
Come on.
Come on.
Get out of the boat.
Get out of the boat.
Get out of that stinking thinking of being 0-27.
Right.
You ain't won a game in 3 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Get out of that stinking thinking. Get out of the past.
No more
Get out of
0-27.
fear. Stop thinking like that. Stop worrying about that. Stop being that person. Because in order for you, sometimes us as people, we identify and become what we think.
Right.
So if we ain't won in 3 years, you've identified and became a loser.
Right. Right.
So we operate like losers.
Right.
Operate in fear,
In fear.
in doubt,
Right.
and with a glass half empty instead of half full mindset.
Exactly.
So when the opportunity comes along for you to step up and make the play or take the position to go out and do the thing,
Right.
it's easier for us just to sit in the corner of the boat and
Exactly.
be afraid.
Exactly. Because you already have that attitude of defeat of here we go again.
Exactly.
Like, oh. But if you want to get that W or that W word of win, you gotta push.
Absolutely.
You gotta push
Yes.
off that boat.
Absolutely. And a big thing that we always preach, especially me and my coaches and my players, they probably hate me most times. I love them. They love me, I'm sure, but they don't like me all the time. I'm really big on process.
Okay.
Really big on process. I am crystal clear that anything significant we achieve is due to a very intentional, thorough process to reach the end. That's what I mentioned that earlier, is the end. The
end.
end is the win.
Absolutely.
But we don't understand that. It's kind of funny. Starting in April,
Okay.
weight training,
Weight training.
leading all the way up to September when we play games.
Yep.
That's how you win.
Right.
That's when we started our weight room
That
program.
process. Right. From April.
Now, with, like you said, year zero.
Yeah. Years
Now
ago.
going to year one, like we really have a full off season, whether we win state this year or not, soon as the season's over, within a week or two, guess what? In the weight room.
Yep.
We're preparing. We're embracing. And we're diving into the process that it takes to win. Teams that consistently win, people that consistently win, successful people don't see what they're doing behind the scenes, the grind, the process that they're going through. All they see is the end.
Exactly.
They see the game-winning shot.
They see the game-winning shot.
They
They
see
see the
the
highlight. The
and the
call.
lifestyle. They see, the championship. They see the the score,
parade,
the score,
right, the score
on CCX.
Yeah, and
they see
CCX.
the score. Oh man, Maple Grove beat this team, but they don't see the grind that Maple Grove put in.
No, they don't.
to be
They
able
don't
to do
respect
that.
it either. Right?
They don't respect it.
Yeah.
So part of what we're doing right now, and he's just going back to separating. Our calendar is more full than it's ever been, and honestly, I kind of pulled the punch. It's like 80% of where I really wanted to be. So when I announced that, hey, this is our schedule for the summer, people were like, this dude is crazy. Like literally, people were like behind closed doors and like whispering to each other, and players amongst themselves was like, this dude is something else. Are you serious? Like we're doing this much football? Yeah, bro.
Yeah, bro.
We're doing that much football.
Right.
Because what you've done to this point, the process that you have currently been operating in has got you to the end results that you're currently experiencing. The process don't change, the result don't change. I'm bringing in a different process, and it's much more thorough than what you had before. That's going to get us different results than we had before. One person in my life, my cousin, his name is Jared. I got to give him a shout out.
Shout out to Jared.
Big shout to Jared. One thing he told me years ago, and it stuck with me, literally. It stuck with me in my brain, and it's never left.
Yep.
If nothing changes, then nothing changes.
Let that settle in real quick.
You can apply that to anything.
Anything.
Yeah.
If my diet is a certain way and I weigh a certain amount, I don't change that. My weight ain't going to change.
It's not going to change.
If I'm working a certain job and I'm locked into a certain salary, as long as I'm in that job making that salary, my bread ain't going to change.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a football player, the workout that you've been doing once a week, if you keep doing that, you're going to get once a week results. But if you work out 4 times a week, you're going to get at least 4 times your results, not to mention the exponential growth you're going to get from all the other parts of that lifestyle. So that's something that we've been talking about a lot too. Like, listen, yeah, I know y'all probably think I'm crazy, and I'm demanding an awful lot out of everybody, coaches too. Like, dang, because we kept a handful of coaches from the last regime. Wow, yeah, we can't say that we want to be one of the best teams in the nation. Again, our expectations, our relentless mindset, it ain't about let's get a win. A win?
Come on now.
Why would we get one win when we can get 12, 13 wins at Win State?
Right, Win State. Go for it all.
Why shoot for 1 when we can get 12? Like, it's on the schedule.
Right.
Whether we like it or not, we're going to play 8 games. Why not try to win all of them?
Negotiate with yourself.
Come on.
Yeah.
Right.
Come on. Why not? But my point is, we're rattling that cage and changing the expectations for process, which is going to dictate change in result, change in culture, change in the end. And Friday nights.
Yes.
I'm not predicting we're going to win every single game, but brother, I'll be daggone if we don't try.
Absolutely.
And at the end of the day, here's the thing about our process.
I love that.
We have a 25-step teaching process.
Okay.
That we use, and I won't get all into it for lack of time, but it's a very intentional process, literally from the off season with the coaches all the way through practices to games, and then we repeat. But what I know is if we did every single thing that we know to do, we prepare our kids to play a game, and we lose. Nobody likes to lose.
No one likes to lose.
But I can accept a loss knowing that we were optimally prepared in every single way, in every phase of the game, and we did everything we could to win the game. That's a lot easier than my 49ers not knowing that both teams get the ball in overtime.
Right. Yeah.
That makes you want to look at life differently.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because you coulda, woulda, shoulda known the rule. If I would have known, I would have done differently, right?
Exactly.
But that's kind of the principle that we use, it's me in life, but also with our team. We're going to do every single thing we can to be prepared to win every single possible game. And if we don't, guess what? We're going to learn what we need to do next week to make sure we're in better position next week to play better than we did last week to try to get to the end of a win. And we're going to refine and improve our process at the same time. Versus, man, if Johnny knew how to do this, nope, that's an excuse. If the quarterback would have did this, nope, that's an excuse. If the line knew how to block, guess whose job is it to teach him how to block?
Well, but that starts with the offensive line coach, and it comes back to the player actually going through.
I disagree.
Okay, so it's the offensive line.
It's the coaching.
It's the coaching.
Always coaching.
Always coaching.
Because guess what? In that scenario, that let's say the left guard doesn't know how to block, why is he on the field?
It's bad coaching.
It's coaching.
It's coaching.
We're allowing substandard play to make it on the field. And if he don't do his job, you think it's a secret that he don't know how to do his job? You record every practice. Every practice is on film.
Right.
The offensive line coach is right there. OC is right there. I'm right there. His homies know dude is bad.
Yep.
And that's another thing with culture. I'm not even going to talk about what happened last year, but the players know.
Players know. The players know.
The players know who knows and who's good and who's not. So if we're allowing someone who's hypothetically bad, just using your scenario,
Sure.
the left guard,
Yeah.
who's not good,
Yeah. They're missing blocks.
missing blocks and whatever, don't know his assignments,
Right.
ultimately the players know. If we run to the left, we probably not going to get in the yards because dude is bad.
Yep.
And then they're looking at us funny. Why is he on the field?
They're looking at you like, hey, well, come on.
Y'all know he's bad. Why is
You
he
know
on
he's
here?
bad. Right. You know he's taking up a roster spot.
Literally,
Yeah.
there's somebody behind them, even if they're not as big or strong, but
Right.
they know their job.
They know their job.
So it all rolls backwards to your process, expectations, and a selection process.
Absolutely. That reminds me of a quote from Paul Bear Bryant, I believe, the Alabama great coach. Everybody wants to win, but very few plan to win. And I think that's so accurate in regards to like understanding, just the rules, understanding where you need to be, and having the discipline to follow through on that plan, that process, and understanding that you are the expert when you're out there on the football field, that you know your job, you know exactly where you need to be going, and you as a coach, you understand that your players need to be on the same page.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'll say this, man. One day, with the grace of God and a lot of hard work, if I'm whispered even in a sneeze of Bear Bryant,
Yes.
okay,
Yes.
that'd be an honor. Okay. But my commitment is to be the best coach, best leader I can be, right? And to try to pull my team, my staff, our program towards that direction of being great, right? It's a process. But my thing is, what can help me and our program to go through that process and understand that the process will result in more success than failure if we know that we have done every possible thing to plan and prepare to win.
Absolutely.
That's the thing.
That's
because the players also know. Like, dude, our practices are janky. Our coaches don't know what they're talking about. We're running bad plays. The kids know. I have a group at our showing leadership.
okay.
I call them the core four.
The core four.
You got to have that.
You,
I'm the head
you
coach.
Need him. You need him.
I'm the head coach, but you got to have the boots on the ground. You got to have the word of the street.
Yes.
And you got to also ask them their opinion because they play, they know. I mean, we can't discount what they know and what they bring to the table.
Absolutely. What they're seeing.
Yeah. So I frequently check in with them. Hey, y'all, how you feel like it's going? What can we be doing better? What can we be doing different? Well, what ain't working?
Right.
What have you heard? What's the word of the street? What's going on?
Right. What's going on?
What do I need to know?
Exactly.
What kind of poop is in the punch bowl? Or
right.
what smoke is out there? Because the smoke always turns to the fire. What smoke's out there? What problems do we need to solve?
Exactly.
That's invaluable too.
Right.
Because, like I said, I keep saying it, but kids know. So if there's any coaches watching this and you don't really have a direct line of communication with like all your players ideally, but especially with the group, like that's you missing that.
Absolutely.
You got to have that core group of dudes that can keep it real with you, can have that honest.
Yeah, back and forth, that full like basically a full dialogue.
Absolutely.
So you get that pulse of the football team.
Because I could think, and the coaches, we could think we're doing everything great. And they're like, Coach, listen, I know you really like X play, but dude, every time we run that play, I don't know what it is. It don't work. And every time we hear it called, everybody just gets sad. Like, here we go again.
Right.
It's hypothetical.
Hypothetical.
Right. But sometimes they just know. Like, we don't believe in this play. We believe in that one, though. So in that situation, it's like, okay, what's better? Better good results or bad results? If they're going to go a million miles an hour for this play and not that play, how about we call that play? And in the game, what's the objective? Is to win. And to gain yards, to prevent them from gaining yards. So, okay, cool. Right? And then what does that do with your players? They feel heard.
They feel heard. They feel respected.
They feel seen. Like,
feel
hey,
seen, right?
you said this is our team, but when we step to you on some our team stuff and you don't hear us.
And you don't hear us, what's going on?
I mean, it's his words then.
It's a disconnect.
But if I hear you and we make adjustments or whatever, not every single time, they ain't going to be able to pull that card on everything. But if it's legitimate, actionable stuff
absolutely,
that can help the program, help the team, and it's about the team, it's not about me, it's not about you, but it's about we, like we always say.
Yes.
I would be dumb.
Right, exactly. Like you got to be able to connect with your team.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And if you can't connect with everybody, at least have that core group.
Exactly. You're not going to satisfy everybody, but you got to at least connect with your core four.
I forgot which coach said it, but if you want to be Nick Saban.
Nick Saban, okay.
If you want to be a leader and you want to make everybody happy, sell ice cream.
Yes, that is so accurate. Sell ice cream.
1,000%.
Everybody has their own flavor. Right?
Everybody has their own flavor and it's sweet, and everybody who don't like ice cream.
Yeah.
But if you want to be a leader, there's going to be decisions. There's going to be ways of doing things. There's going to be calls you got to make that people are not going to like.
You're going to have some critical conversations.
Yep.
And and it comes back down to you are responsible to the rest of the team. And some people are not going to like it that you are calling out their mediocrity, and it's not good enough.
Yeah. And at times, our film session can be brutal. And that's one thing I believe, though. We can have any conversation, but it's never got to be disrespectful. So I'm never going to attack you personally. You suck, or you.
Yeah.
Hey, bottom line, bro, what coverage are we in? Okay, where are you supposed to be? Are you there? No. Why?
Exactly. Explain yourself.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. That's an excuse.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The plays are in the playbook. It's on Huddle. You can view it anywhere at any time. Your phone, tablet, computer. We got binders on the field.
Right.
How?
Yeah.
It's part of my 25-step teaching process.
Yep.
I did that. So just going back to the worst season with the results I've ever had at BC was we went 1-8 one year.
Okay.
So we went 1-7 regular
1-7.
season, and we also lost first
sectional.
round playoffs.
Yeah, first round playoffs.
It's like, dog. Listen, I'm not Bear Bryant, Nick Saban, but god dang, I ain't this bad.
Right.
Yeesh. We got to figure some stuff out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I said, okay. I found myself making excuses. I was blaming the players. I was blaming coaches. I was in that sulky, feeling sorry for myself place.
For sure.
Every leader, every coach, every person's been there.
Every person's been there. 100%.
And I was there. I was living in it, brother.
Wow.
And I said, listen, what can I do for selfishly? And this is what I tell people all the time.
Yes, for yourself.
I do right by people and do right by things. I live my life in a way because I'm selfish. My most precious thing to me, outside of my children, is my peace of mind and my sleep. So I want to be able to go to sleep, even if we lost. Right. Like I said earlier, knowing that, listen, Chauncy, literally, there's nothing that you could have done preparation-wise to make sure the kids were ready, coach was ready, Now, of course, when we get to the game, we go, it's going to be stuff. Okay, we need to fix this, we need to fix that, That's fixable stuff. That's learnable stuff. Right. Those are lessons. Exactly. But preparation and leading up to is everything. That's 90% of the game. 90%
of the game.
If you're prepared, 90% or better prepared for the game, the chances of winning that game are very strong.
Exactly.
Things, that happen during the game dictate the result, but you have a chance coming in based on your preparation. So for me, with that 1-8 season, I said, dude, I need to have a very, very crystal clear roadmap of teaching to make sure that I know our staff has done everything we can to make sure the kids know what's expected and what they need to do. And we have that now in place. And that gives me a lot of peace of mind. I can go to sleep at night like, hey, listen, if they get out there in the game and they don't know what to do, obviously, you're going to have to make an adjustment, but we can't say it's because the coaches didn't properly prepare or teach. At that point, it's just like, that's That's a faulty part of the process.
Right.
You know, that's a malfunctioning piece on the assembly line.
Exactly.
Okay?
There should be an alarm going off.
Yeah,
Right.
you know, what's that? A recall.
A recall,
yeah,
right.
A recall in the product line.
Right.
You got to pull him aside and get him together real quick.
Hey,
but it's
need
not
you to
going
step
to be
aside, right?
6, 7, 8, 9 of them. Because that will get you beat.
Yeah.
You walk into a game, 6, 7, 8, 9 of your players are like hoping they know what to do.
Yeah.
Wishing they know what to do.
Yes.
Thinking they know what to
do.
It's a whole different level.
You're getting blown
knowing
out.
what you want to do.
Right.
My core philosophy in terms of how we want to play is fast, physical, and discipline. The key to playing fast is knowing what I'm doing. If I know for a fact my exact responsibility or whatever the case, and I know it like the back of my hand, I ain't thinking about it, I ain't guessing about it, I can play fast and instinctive.
Right.
It's our job to get them there to where they feel that comfortable, that confident in their responsibility, that they play that way.
Right.
So I can play fast. I can play physically. So I can show up and be aggressive. I can be physical. I can be my 100% best self in my role that I'm trusted to do because I'm playing fast. I know what I'm doing. I can show up and play confident. I can be physical.
Absolutely.
And then discipline is doing what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it. That's my definition of discipline.
Absolutely.
Discipline is doing what you're supposed to do.
Doing what you're supposed to do.
When you're supposed to do it.
When you're supposed to do it. That's real. That's discipline.
So if it's like, hey, I have a discipline to read the Bible. Okay. You said every morning at 6 o'clock you're gonna be reading the Bible. 6 a.m. comes, you're not reading the Bible, you're not disciplined.
You're not disciplined. You're missing that time to be disciplined.
Bottom line.
Right.
You're supposed to be reading the Bible right now, and you're on Facebook. You ain't disciplined.
You ain't disciplined. Yep. You're reading the wrong book.
Exactly. Or the playbook.
Or
right?
the playbook.
Hey,
right.
I'm a player every night before I go to bed, whatever, it's 8:30, 9 o'clock. I'm gonna get my playbook for 15 minutes. Okay, cool. If you're on Instagram, you're not in that playbook. You're not disciplined. Same thing in football. If I'm that left guard and we running a certain play, I'm supposed to block a certain dude or I'm supposed to be in a certain place or whatever my assignment is. If I'm not consistently doing it, I'm not disciplined. And you can't be on my field if you're not disciplined.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This is a great conversation. We'll definitely touch back in regards to discipline. I love that. I love that. Where that was going. I know you're a big sports fan. I know there's been so much going on in sports. And Jim, you're in Bacon City, or AKA Green Bay.
Yeah.
Right? There's been a lot that has unfolded. I mean, obviously the summer league's coming up for the NBA. NFL's right around the corner. Training camps, and just understanding discipline with all these teams. Even the Olympics is coming up right now. Are you a big Anthony Edwards fan?
I love Ant-Man.
Ant-Man.
Yeah.
What do you think of Ant-Man's just growth from, I think from last summer to last season in regards to that playoff run? Where do you see that discipline in Anthony Edwards' game?
I think something had to shift within the organization because when he got drafted, it was Cat's team. Right.
It was
he was a
Cat's
marquee
team.
player. He had the big contract.
Right.
It was Karl Anthony Towns' team. He was going to be.
He was the
one.
face. Yeah.
And let's be real. Anthony Edwards got drafted in support of Cat.
Yeah, they were building around Cat.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a big Lakers fan. I'm
Me
also
too.
a big Niners fan.
Okay.
So if you go back and look at the model with back in the day teams, there's usually a prominent big man and a consistent contributor as a wingman. So they were trying to go that route with Cat Ant-Man. But I think the team had to have a real look at themselves and say the identity and the fervor and the influence of our team is leaning towards Ant-Man. I think they had to make an internal decision to make Ant-Man the number one and make Cat the number two. When they did that, that's what took his game to the next level because at that point, he wasn't holding back. He was 1,000% himself.
He was himself.
He was talking all the trash. He was dunking on everybody. He was making it clear, I'm that dude. I'm coming. I'm not afraid of KD. Talking trash to KD. Calling out dudes. Being himself 1,000%, which took his game to that next level. So I think that was the shift. That they made him the number one and let him be the lead dog, be the alpha dog.
Be the alpha.
Take us to where we're going to go. We're going to go as far as you take us. and that took him to the next level. So with him going to the Olympics, I know what he said with the Olympics and everything.
Yes.
Why not be number one?
I'm the number one option.
Why not?
Why not?
Somebody got to take it from me. When I pull up and I put these sneakers on, I'm expecting to be number one, and somebody else has to show me and everybody else that they're the obvious choice to be number one. Until somebody come take it from me, it's my job. I love it.
I love it. Yeah, because he kind of had that back and forth, and you can appreciate that. He had Steve Kerr last season, or I should say last summer, where Steve Kerr came to him and said, hey, like, you know that D. Wade came off the bench. And then he said, there's no Kobe on this team. And I was like, yes, thank you for saying that, because, like, that shows me that you have that, like, alpha. Like,
absolutely.
I'm going to take it, you know, and you're going to have to take it away from me. But I'm always going to see myself as the number one option. And I think at that point, I think Cat realized, all right, I'm dealing with an alpha.
Yeah.
I'm no longer the number one.
Yeah.
I'm 1B,
right.
but he's 1A. And I think that's going to be interesting in regards to seeing, like, how the Olympics team's going to kind of come together and gel. Because it's early right now. I mean, I think they have a game coming up, I think, either this week. I think they play in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on this. Is it Canada?
I think it's Canada, yeah.
So they're playing against Jamal Murray. I'm sure they're going to be excited to play Team USA. They got LeBron, they got Steph, they got KD. Like you said, all these superstars. And then Ant-Man is included with this. But I think it's going to be very interesting to watch how the Olympics plays out, because there was even a quote where there was a U.S. track runner. You could possibly correct me on this, Jim. Do you remember that quote where there was a U.S. track runner saying, why do the NBA players say that it's world champions when they win the NBA title?
Yeah, I heard that quote.
And then that got them a little hot and bothered. But I just want to get your take on that in regards to, like, do you believe that, you know, the U.S. team, when they call themselves the world champions after they win the NBA finals?
I do. And the reason why I would say is the NBA is comprised collectively as the best basketball players in the world. So if there was like a, you know, USA league, and then there was like a European league, for example, that they can play each other for an ultimate world championship, I still don't think that our best team from the NBA, from an individual team, not a country team.
Okay.
But there's some other European league, and they had a team called the Paris Jaguars.
So, yeah.
They couldn't beat our world champion.
No.
So I feel confident, and I'm okay with them saying they're the world champion, because I don't think there is an individual team that can beat the best NBA team individually. Now, when we come together and we have our Monstars,
exactly,
of all the best players in the United States versus the best players from France and wherever.
Greece, wherever. Yeah.
Now, that's a little bit different.
That's a little different.
Right, but yeah.
Okay. That's fair. Jim, want your take on this too?
I mean, yeah, I 100% agree. It's hard to call ourselves world champions if we're just playing in our own North America. I think the Olympics is the best chance to show, like, the best on best on best. One of the questions I have, if you could take any person from any sport have your players model after, who would it be and why?
Good question.
I would say LeBron.
LeBron.
I say LeBron because LeBron puts in the work.
Yes.
Right. Everybody marvels at his results, and the whole Jordan debate, that's a whole different conversation. But consistently in his 20-plus years in the NBA, even in high school, this dude was grinding. He's put in the work, and he's changed his body multiple times. This guy has added pieces to his game over the years.
Three-point
shot, you know, getting better at the free throw line. For a while, he was a bad free throw shooter. So just consistently loving the game, embracing the process, the millions of dollars he spends on his health and nutrition. Like, it's hard to find a harder grinder and process-oriented guy than LeBron.
That loves the game.
Yeah, and then also look at his life. I mean, he's married, been married since he was in
high school
sweetheart. And
Savannah James.
From the outside looking in, stable household. He's got productive kids. He's doing crazy stuff for his community back in Akron with the school he started and money he gives away. I seen recently there's like thousands of kids he sent to college for free.
Okay.
Coming through the school.
Right.
All that kind of stuff.
That's
like,
amazing.
How do you do better than that?
Yeah.
And he's staying out of trouble.
Never been in trouble, with, the
law.
you
Right.
know, it's hard to be better than LeBron holistically.
Absolutely. Right. He's like both on and off the court.
Right.
Like he's a great role model.
Right.
For the youth.
100%.
And speaking of LeBron, his son just got drafted.
Yeah.
Bronny, 55th overall.
Yep.
And he signed a nice contract. You know, shout out to Pops and Rich Paul. We did talk about Rich Paul in our last podcast. But that's another debate. But let's focus on Bronny. Bronny's going to be in the Summer League upcoming. It's the 20-year anniversary of the Summer League. And I do have plans to actually be out in Las Vegas this weekend to just check it out and see if I can go see Bronny. Unfortunately, like the way that my flights worked out, both the Timberwolves games are on the days that I'm flying in and flying out. So I won't be able to catch any of the Timberwolves, but I definitely will be following the buzz. But Bronny, I think Bronny's going to be like the headliner. And how many times does a second round pick, 55th overall, is the headliner of the Summer League?
When your name is LeBron James Jr., that's when it happens. That's when it happens.
I wonder whose son he's.
Have a sneaky suspicion. Ronnie, LeBron. That James last name.
That James last name does stick out.
Ain't there somebody in the league
Somebody
who might be
Mike James? Oh no,
first or second best player of all time?
Right.
Last name
Yeah.
James.
Number one.
Edgerrin James.
Edgerrin James.
No, that's not.
Where's
That's
that?
the wrong sport.
No.
It's Mike James. No, that's like a coach or something.
That's a
right?
coach.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I don't know.
Where's number 23, man?
23.
He's tall.
It's tall. Got a beard.
Yeah,
Right.
got a beard. Questionable hairline.
Questionable hairline.
You
Right.
know,
Right.
Like LeBron
James.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
That might have something to do with
That's
it.
something to do with it, right?
But real talk, man. I've been kind of on both sides of this conversation. At first, I was like, dude, that's nepotism at its best. But my point on that is, hey, it is what it is. You know,
At this
your
point.
dad is it happens in every other line of work.
Sure.
You know, countless examples, thousands of examples of people based on their parents or their family connections get favorable,
It happens in all the sports. IndyCar racing, NASCAR.
everywhere.
Right.
Everywhere. It's just part of it. Bad break for some other people,
Sure.
but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
But in terms of what he has in front of him, now your game got to talk. Your name opened up some doors.
Yes.
But your game's don't keep you in those doors.
Exactly.
So he got to step up. He got to ball and earn his own path.
Exactly. Because he's going to.
I think he's going to get the Caitlin Clark treatment too.
True.
Yes.
Yeah, that's another good topic. Yeah.
They coming for him.
They're going to be coming for him. They're going to be throwing hard screens. If LeBron's on the bench, especially, they're definitely going to be headhunting.
Let's be honest.
Yep.
Those cats in the G League, they're fighting and scrapping for their dream to come true.
Yes.
Arguably, you got the silver spoon with Bronny.
Yep.
Who is this little silver spoon getting biggest contract in the history of second round 55th picks
Teenager,
ever?
19 years old.
19 years old. Going to come in here and prevent me and my family from reaching our goals and our dreams when he's already got his life made. His dad's a billionaire.
Yeah, his dad's a billionaire.
He'll never want for money or opportunity for the rest of his life.
Yeah, he's not missing no meals.
This is my moment, my chance. So a lot of cats are going to come after him to make a name for themselves. I shut down Bronny. I dunked on Bronny.
Right.
I picked the pocket on Bronny, went down and dunked in fast break. Because Bronny's going to have all the cameras on him.
Oh, for
So
sure.
if I want to, it's just like football.
Yep.
We tell the kids all the time, hey, a scout may be coming to the game to watch a different kid. If you're playing and you're balling, they're going to notice you too.
Yes.
Same principle. We're all in the same court at the same time.
Right.
So we got all these cameras on Bronny. Every one of his games going to be followed. You're going freaking to Las Vegas just to watch him play.
Yes.
If I want to try to make a name for myself and get myself a contract, that Bronny game is when I can do it.
Exactly.
So I think he needs to be prepared for that.
100%.
Be coming after him, trying to make a name for themselves at his expense.
Exactly. And I think Bronny, or LeBron James Jr., I think he has been prepared for it, living in a fishbowl already. Because, the eyes are already on him in regards to the time that he was at USC. He had the unfortunate heart attack that, derailed the progression of his career, but then he bounced back, had his sophomore season, and then elected to enter the NBA draft. So, yeah, this is going to be a monumental few months coming up for Bronny to really prove that it wasn't just, okay, my dad's on the Lakers, and that's why the Lakers ended up selecting me for this position. And I think it also we'll see a true character of Bronny. I think throughout the adversity that he's going to face, just like a Caitlin Clark. And she definitely has bounced back. I mean, the Indiana Fever are doing pretty well. Shout out to the Indiana Fever. And then also shout out to Angel Reese. I mean, she's been on a tear as a double-double. I don't know. Do you watch a little WNBA?
I have.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
And I'll be one of the first ones to admit I wasn't watching that much really ever until these young ladies came on the scene and elevated the platform of the WNBA and the women's basketball in general. And so I'm a big fan. I like the fact that Angel Reese and her grittiness is kind of like saying, hey, I'm here too.
Yes.
And her game translates a little easier because she's a big man.
Yep.
So she's getting those double-doubles.
She's getting double-doubles.
She's playing her game. She's growing in confidence, which she really didn't lack before.
She didn't lack no
She didn't lack
the Bayou Barbie.
Oh, right, exactly. Yeah. She ain't lacking no confidence. The one thing I'll say about Angel is that if I was somebody she would listen to, and she probably won't, who am I? Okay. You can't pound the table and then complain about splinters.
Yes. I agree with that.
She's been very, very outspoken, making her claims, making strong statements. But when she fails or she doesn't have the results or she's getting criticized, she tends to play the victim.
Facts.
Can't do that.
Can't do that. Can't have it both ways. Can't eat your cake and have it too.
You can't pound the table and then you get a splinter and say, oh, man, this table. No.
Oh, no. You asked for this.
Yeah.
Right.
And with Caitlin Clark, I think she's getting a bad break, man.
She's getting a bad break.
She's a rookie. People say she got drafted, where she got drafted and the attention from college was because she was white. No, that girl got game.
She got game. She's a generational talent.
She is a female Steph Curry.
Yes, she can shoot it out from anywhere. Her range is unlimited.
Good handle.
Yeah,
she has a high clip of turnovers. She got to be a little bit less reckless with the ball, but she's a rookie.
That's what rookies do.
Absolutely. And she carried Iowa to national contention for 2-3 years straight with that roster.
She carried.
Angel Reese was on LSU and had some dogs.
She had some dogs.
South Carolina has some dogs. They had a team.
Cardoso.
With some good to great players. Collectively, several on one team that made them great teams.
Absolutely.
Caitlin was her and she was like LeBron. He went to his first finals.
Right. She had LeBron. She had Kate
Larry Hughes,
Eric Snow.
Yeah,
right. Donnell Marshall.
Verjao.
Yeah.
She's doing it. She did amazing things with not the greatest support. She's in the WNBA now, playing very well. Turnovers here and there, but also she's getting everybody's best shot.
She is.
People going out of their way to make her turn the ball over, which they should.
As they should, right.
Going out of their way, picking her up 94 feet regularly, setting bone-crushing screens on her on purpose, standing over her like they're making...
Pointing at her after a crossover.
All that.
Right.
Looking at her crazy. She on the bench. She's not even in the game. And they make a nice shot. Right. They looking at her like, yeah, take that.
Yes.
So considering everything she's up against, I think she's getting a bad break. And I think in the next couple of years, her and Asia, they're probably going to be 1, 2, 3 the best players in the league for sure.
Don't forget Paige Beckers.
I can't.
I'm not.
But she's not there yet.
She's not there yet.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Her and Juju Watkins.
For sure.
Those are going to be the players that I'm definitely excited for.
So the next 3-4 years, WNBA is in great shape. And, with everybody kind of being on, the wave now, hopefully the participation goes up, ticket sales, and the salaries work themselves up and all that stuff. With the TV contracts they're going to be getting, they can get paid better and get better accommodations, all that stuff now, that they deserve.
Which they deserve, exactly. And now that Caitlin Clark has entered the league, now they're no longer flying commercial. They're flying private and charter. Like, that's a difference.
Ain't that wild?
Is that wild?
So I forgot when somebody, think it was like 1986, 1985 when the NBA officially stopped taking commercial flights.
Oh,
Because I think the Detroit Pistons was one of the teams that kind of spearheaded and everybody played, copycat.
yep.
But can you imagine that? In 2023,
It was 38 years ago.
right?
Yeah,
2023,
2023.
you can be the WNBA MVP and you be sitting next to Chauncy on a flight,
Right. Asia Wilson right next to you.
smelling my funky breath in the morning and everything. You got to deal with.
You got.
That's wild.
Well, that is wild.
Yeah.
That is wild. Like when I would cover the Minnesota Lynx, I would see Maya Moore in Terminal 1 and be like,
Just sitting there chilling.
just chilling, like the GOAT for the WNBA.
Come on.
now. Like
She in the same super long Starbucks line as you.
exactly right. She waiting for Chick-fil-A, same line.
So yeah, this kind of getting back to it.
Yeah, get back to it. Yeah.
WNBA is
WNBA.
heading in the right direction.
Absolutely.
I think that they're something special brewing.
Love it. Shout out to women's sports.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, Jim, I know that we did have some topics. I know what topic did you want to pivot to?
Oh, oof.
I'll give him
Go back. That's
on the spot.
oh my
Put you on the
God.
spot. Okay.
Packers.
Packers. I mean,
God, I'm not a Packers fan.
No, he's not a Packers fan.
He just lives in Wisconsin.
Yeah, we met at a Green Bay Packers game, Vikings Packers. He's a Vikings fan.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. All right.
Originally from Connecticut.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It from moving from Connecticut to Green Bay it's great. It's a big change, but I really want to go to Minnesota soon. I only been there like in transition from in the airport. I really want to go visit Minnesota because it's like it seems like an awesome place. I'm a big hockey guy myself, but I also like other sports. But just to switch back to coaching a little bit here, this is kind of a two-part question for you. First one is, growing up, you had a whole different, like, the coach is the coach, you do what he says to the questions. How is that different? How did you make that transfer from that to what you're coaching now? Like, how was the transfer over from that?
I think as a coach, one thing I pride myself on is being coachable and being flexible where needed, right? So when I first started coaching, I was much more of the kind of old school minded, and you need to have that because there needs to be a clear direction, clear plan, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. That's necessary to be an authority figure. But as you start to work with the young people, it's just a different generation.
Yeah.
Like most of these kids don't even talk.
Yeah. They're doing TikTok dances. They don't talk.
They
right?
don't even talk.
No.
Right?
No.
So let alone trying to instill a certain way of doing things in a 100% authoritative dictatorship type of a role, you're going to lose them quick.
Yeah.
Also, this is the option. This is the era of options.
It is. The NIL.
Yeah.
NIL, but this
Right.
life.
Options.
Your phone opens
phone.
the entire world to you. Do I want food delivered to me right now? Do I feel like posting a video on Instagram? Do I want to order something on Amazon to come to my house? Like literally all of us as humans, if we never went outside again, we'd be straight.
Yep.
So for us in this generation of working with kids who have all these options, what they could be doing, you kind of have to, in a sense, get on their level and understand who they are in this generation. So in this generation, the relationship is everything. It's everything. They have to buy into you as a person, as a coach first, before they really buy into you and your big ideas.
Exactly.
What you know. Like they got to know you before they care about what you know.
Before you build that credibility.
Yeah. There is a point of them taking you serious by coming to the table with a resume or your plans and all that. That's part of it.
That's part of it.
Right. Because again, the players know. They know if you're full of crap.
Yes.
And they know that you don't know what you're talking about. Like, so that's part of it. But like having that relationship with them is what's going to take for us from being a decent team to being a competitive team. It's really important. So if any coach out there is listening, really focus on building relationships.
Okay, absolutely, absolutely. No, that's a great question,
Yeah.
Jim. I did bring this magazine, and on the front, you can take a look at the magazine, but it says "Coaching Beats Talent." I just want to definitely like
1,000% agree.
Preach that to you. Okay,
1,000% agree. So it's funny. Me and my friends, we have this debate all the time about coaching versus talent, right? So I'll give an example of basketball.
Basketball, yeah.
Right. The San Antonio Spurs under Popovich.
Yes.
They did have Tim Duncan.
Yes.
They had Manu. They had Tony Parker. They dismantled many teams over the years because of their system, how disciplined they were, and their level of execution.
Right.
Bill Belichick is another good example. Nick Saban's another good example.
Right.
Sometimes they do have great teams. Sometimes they don't.
Sometimes they don't, but they still have that.
They have consistent success because of how they go about doing what they do and their expectations for execution. Doing what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it consistently, right? So I'm a firm believer that if you have a sound system that is flexible to where you can apply it to different talent groups, because everybody looks great when you got Kobe Bryant.
Yeah. Right, exactly. Right? Yeah.
But even then, so let's piggyback on that. Yeah, that's a great example.
Yeah, it is.
Kobe had a lot of losing seasons.
He did.
Not great coaches.
Right.
You got Phil Jackson when they had the three-peat.
They had the three-peat.
At Shaq.
He did have Shaq, right? And then that whole core, Derek Fisher,
Rick Fox, even Tyronn Lue was on that team. Like, they didn't have a bad team.
Right, yeah.
Let's be honest.
They were stacked.
That team could have hold a candle. No. 09, 08 team. Could they hold a candle to that team with Shaq and Kobe?
I don't think so.
What was the difference? Phil came back.
Phil did come back, though. He did come back.
That's how Kobe got 4 and 5.
Yep, with Phil. Yes.
With Phil. So that makes a difference. I feel strongly that you do need to have talent in order for you to reach the highest levels. It's more important to have good and sound coaching, good and sound systems and schemes that can maximize the ability of your players, and that you can be flexible within to plug players into, and then you can feature what the players do best to get the most out of them, which will help you get more success.
Okay. Here's a flip side of that argument. I totally respect coaching, what Bill Belichick has done in his Hall of Fame career, undoubtedly. One of the greatest coaches, if not the greatest coach of all time in football. But what Tom Brady was able to do in 1 year, removed from Bill Belichick. What's your thoughts in regards to talent as being able to go further without their coach?
I agree with that. So my perspective is this, and I'm in agreement with that statement.
Okay.
Tom Brady is a unicorn.
Okay.
He's the GOAT for a reason. So on offense, right, we are a team.
Yes.
But let's split the team in half.
Okay.
For this example.
Down the middle. Yep.
Tom and the offense was really a system within itself.
Okay.
Tom was the offense. He was the system.
Yes.
Defensively, even without Brady, even up to last year, Patriots on defense were one of the top 5 defenses. So Belichick's genius was on the defensive side of the ball.
Right. That's his expertise.
He obviously knows offense.
He knows that. Right.
But he had the benefit of having arguably the greatest quarterback ever on that side of the ball that was a system within himself, that where the offense took care of itself.
Right.
And let me focus and do what I do great and build great defenses. People forget, Tom Brady won a few of his Super Bowls by field goals.
Right. Adam Vinatieri.
Tom wasn't bombing for 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns in the early 2000s. Mm-hmm. Those were last-second drives that he did throw some key passes on.
He did.
And they kicked field goals to win the game. So they were defensive, low-scoring, dogfight Super Bowl wins.
Right.
And that arguably, if you look at what Bill Belichick and the defense did, shut down some of the greatest offenses ever.
Peyton Manning.
Along the way.
Or the greatest the great show on turf.
Yeah. The Rams at the peak of their powers, shut them down, made them look bad. Like, people were questioning all that. So my point is, coaching and the talent matters. So Tom, when he went to Tampa, remember him and Bruce Arians were bumping heads.
They were.
Because Bruce Bruce had a drop back, throw the ball deep down the field, like he was that old kind of air raid, Don Coryell.
No risk it, no biscuit.
No risk it, no biscuit.
Yep.
Jameis Winston threw 33 touchdowns and 30 picks.
And the 30 for 30 we're waiting for. Right. The year before.
But for 5,000 yards.
For 5,000 yards.
So it's like, okay,
Yep.
the system does work, but also Brady was like, hey, bro, like, we're going to put up a lot of points and a lot of yards, but we're going to lose more games because you want me to throw interceptions. Like, that don't work.
That don't work.
Brady's game is death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Yep.
And then taking selective shots downfield. He's like, this is basically an extension of the running game, hitting all these tight ends and these slot receivers. Let me do my thing. Brother, you brought me here for a reason.
Right.
The reason why you brought me here is because of what I did in New England.
Yeah.
If you want me to do
saw
that
my
here,
excellence in New England.
If you want me to do that here, let me do what I do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So they had to have a compromise, which was like mid to late season of that year.
Yes.
All of a sudden, Bruce Arians got out of the way and let Tom do his thing, and they kind of worked together to make the blend of the two systems Super Bowl. Boom. So that's what I say, special talent, top 5 inarguable talent can make that difference. But you also have to have the coaching to make sure the talent is in the right position to do what they do best to have a high level of success. Here's a great example. You got this magazine in front of you.
This magazine right here. Yep.
With Lamar Jackson.
Correct.
I'm a football nerd, and everybody in my life will tell you I'm the weirdest dude because I'm yelling at the TV for teams that have no dogs in the fighting.
Right.
I'm watching Lamar against the Chiefs last year.
Yes.
And I'm yelling at the
championship
cream.
game. Yep.
Why are you not running?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking throughout the whole game.
This is
not your game.
This is coaching.
He has a hell of a coach in John Harbaugh.
For sure. But remember, he's not the offensive coach.
He's not the offensive coach.
He's the head coach.
Right. He had Greg Roman. Yeah.
He could trump. It wasn't Greg Roman no more. They hired a new guy.
They hired a new guy. Okay.
Todd Monken, I think.
Todd Monken, yep.
Yeah. So Todd Monken came in with the emphasis on throwing the ball. Remember that?
Yeah,
so they got Odell and
Zay Flowers. Yeah,
and for the most
Mark
part,
Andrews. It worked, yeah.
But what did the Chiefs do? They said, okay, you're not going to use your greatest weapon against us? Cool. So we'll just play coverage all day. We'll match up with your guys, make it hard for you to throw the ball. And Lamar chose not to scramble and make them pay for it.
He was Spagnuolo. Yeah. He didn't punish them with his greatest
weapon. The coach too. That's when you got to say, Lamar, what are you doing? You're the most talented quarterback, arguably, in the history of the league, next to Mike Vick, probably.
Absolutely.
Athletically, and then arm strength.
2-time MVP.
2-time MVP, and he's not even 30 yet. Like, you're that guy.
You're that guy. Yeah.
Bro, we need you to run. We're going to lose.
Yeah.
That's where the coaching comes in.
That's where the coaching
So
comes
the coaches, along with Lamar, this is my perspective.
Okay.
They wanted to make a point. Lamar can be a pocket quarterback. There's no other explanation.
No other explanation. You want to prove that in the AFC Championship game.
Against Mahomes.
And
You're at home.
They're at home.
Had home field advantage.
Right.
And they just dropping back and throwing the ball over and over and over. And if you watch the tape back,
yes,
they were in favorable defenses where you could run the ball.
Oh, yeah. There was running lanes.
Automatically, we know as coaches, if you play man coverage against a scrambling quarterback, you cooked. It might work once. It might work twice. Third time, he's going to figure it out. He's going to run because there's nobody assigned to the quarterback.
Right.
Nobody's even looking at him.
No
you got
QB
Lamar Jackson with nobody even paying attention to him. And he just dropping back there, patting the ball, looking for somebody to throw to. On 3 and out.
It was infuriating. Yes.
It was absolutely infuriating. I'm yelling at my screen, hurting my voice, yelling at the screen because that's where you're talking about coaching beating talent. Coaches are supposed to support the talent and put the talent in position to do what they do.
Yeah.
Lamar, next time you drop back and they're playing coverage, run. Do it until they change their defense. If you end up with 300 yards rushing this game, so be it. You got a game to win. Next game after this is the Super Bowl. Run them to death.
And you get that week off because that's something that
in the playoffs that don't matter.
That don't matter. Yeah. You have there's no tomorrow. There's no tomorrow.
We're not saving our bodies. We're not trying to preserve reps. We're not thinking about tomorrow or even the next week.
You're playing
if
for
we
your
don't
legacy.
win this week, next week don't matter.
It don't matter.
So coaching beating talent, coaches have more of an impact holistically than just talent. Talent can make the coach look great and make the team achieve more, but the coach is the core. It's the foundation.
Foundation. Absolutely. Absolutely. Jim, did you want to add anything to the discussion?
I mean, I agree. I don't know what they were thinking. Coaching means everything, and a good coach would have recognized what the Chiefs were doing all halfway through the first quarter, and they would have changed things up. So I think, as much as we could all blame Jack Lamar for everything, it's the coaches. The coaches didn't do what they had to do. They didn't realize what they had, and they let him be like that.
Here's another example.
Sure.
I know we're getting a little low on time.
Yeah, we're good.
My Niners. Oh, Lord.
Oh, no.
Oh.
You're not.
I'm still going to counseling. Here's the thing that drove me insane. And I believe somebody, I threw a gigantic Super Bowl party at my house.
Okay.
Gigantic
Love
Super
it.
Bowl party.
Love it.
So we're there, and it's the moment of truth. The Chiefs come out, and we're in the red zone, short red zone.
Short red zone. Yep.
As soon as the receiver went in that short motion, I started screaming, "Oh my God, they're running the same freaking play as last year. That's the exact same play. They're going to run him back." And by the time I got done shouting, they already scored.
They already scored.
Yeah.
Right.
That's coaching.
That's coaching.
And also the negative effect of coaching. If you've seen them won the Super Bowl with the exact same scheme, because we were in cover zero, man-to-man across the board.
Man-to-man across
As soon as they seen that it was man across the board, Pat talked about it on multiple different shows.
Yes.
Said, "Oh, we seen that they were in zero. Oh, we knew we had this motion option. I motioned him in. As soon as I seen him move with him, I knew we won the Super Bowl."
Yep.
He didn't even throw the ball to the receiver. He threw it at a spot.
The spot.
Because he knew was nobody going to be there.
Yep.
Boom. Andy Reid.
That's
Genius.
That's genius.
On the other end, for the Niners, how are you not prepared for that?
Right. How are you not prepared?
You know that if we go zero, they have this in their repertoire because they literally won the Super Bowl doing the exact same thing last year. And if you watch the Chiefs, they do the similar things in the red zone and short yardage all the time.
All the time.
Because they don't line up with two tight ends and run the ball for first downs. They just cat and mouse you to death.
Exactly.
So, okay, you're going to put everybody in the box. You're going to go cover zero, cover one. Okay, you're playing man coverage. We got few options for that. They can run the outside receiver on a slant or a drag, and then they throw it to the running back, which they do all the time.
All the time with Jared McKinnon, who's no longer there, but yeah.
Whoever playing that position.
Whoever playing that position.
All the time. Or we'll short motion them, and then we'll run them back to the flat, throw a touchdown that way. Those are the top two things they want to do.
Yes.
How are you not ready for that?
Coaching. Kyle Shanahan. Like, he's got to be better. He's got to be better.
Absolutely. Yeah. Trust me, I love Shanahan. I love his offensive system. I think he's done tremendous things. You can't take it away from him that he's been to the NFC Championship game right over 4 of the last 5 years. We've been to 2 Super Bowls in the last 4 years. Like, we're achieving. But in the highest moments.
The highest moments, right.
In the highest game against
big leverage moments, right.
Another coach who's obviously doing something right.
Exactly.
Because they're in that position.
Yes.
You got to be at your absolute best. And then talking about preparation, you got to think of every single thing. Those are two different things that really plagued us, was not being ready for that.
Yes.
And then also not knowing overtime rules.
Right.
All the Chiefs players said, dude, as soon as they said, oh, that's the decision for overtime, we knew we won the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah, when they said that they wanted the ball first.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
We're going to take the ball first. You never do that.
You never do that.
You never do that.
Yeah, you kick off, you play defense.
Kick off, play defense. You know what you need, da-da-da.
Right.
You might get a turnover.
You might get a turnover, right. Three and out, anything
says go on defense.
Analytics says go on defense.
Even in college, when they go back and forth from the 20 or whatever.
They go on defense.
You play defense first.
Right.
Because then if whatever happens, we know what we need.
Exactly. If they score a field goal? Yeah. Do we need a field goal or do we need a touchdown?
So it's just coaching blunders. Coaching can help you with winning, with losing, and it usually comes out in the preparation process.
Exactly, the preparation
and
process.
The system and the schemes, right? We can bring up countless teams and players who had bad fits for them and their talent. Like, this kid or this person does X, Y, and Z great. Then we plug him into a system where he's not able to do that the way he used to, and then we say, oh, he's a bust, or he fell off, he lost a step. No, he was just in a system or in a situation that didn't feature what he does best.
Right.
Therefore, we thought that he had lost a step or fallen off, but really it was the coaching didn't put him in the right situation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that kind of, it's like a full circle here with coaching. That's what I think has been said quite a few times about Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. Now they're going to be going to Pittsburgh with Mike Tomlin. Now we get to see that come to a head because Russell Wilson is going to be the week 1 starter in regards to what we see with Justin Fields. I think that's going to be interesting to watch Pittsburgh and how coaching can impact a player that like you said, they lost a step in Denver. He was not getting that support from Sean Payton. Honestly, I felt like that was like a very toxic situation for Russell Wilson. I'm glad that it got out. And then same thing for Justin Fields. I don't think he was getting that same support, but you see the support right now with Caleb Williams because now you got Hard Knocks knocking on their door. You got top rookie. You got a big rookie wide receiver in Rome Odunze. They signed Keenan Allen. They got DJ Moore. They got DeAndre. They're surrounding him with all the weapons
Loaded
that they never did with Justin Fields.
Never. The challenge, though, me being a football junkie, Justin can't read defenses.
Okay.
He struggles to process and make reads and throw consistently from the pocket. Teams knew that.
Yes.
So what they did was they would play a lot of different coverages. They would mix things up.
Very exotic looks.
To confuse him.
Yeah.
And that's why he often had to scramble or run because he was like, either I'm going to throw a pick or can I scramble and use my God-given ability to run.
Right.
So I think some of that stuff can be supported with, again, the right system, right structure. So going to a Pittsburgh where they want to be more run heavy, it's going to be more play action pass.
Sure.
A lot more like bootleg stuff off of play action pass.
Absolutely.
Kind of make it more quarterback friendly. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think he'll do well there. If I had to bet money or make a strong take, I think Russ, because he's proven he can do that. Even last year in Denver with all that toxicity and missing the last couple games and all that, he had really strong numbers. And he was not the reason why they didn't achieve what they wanted to achieve.
He had a bounce back
played
here.
really well.
He did.
Right? So I think even more so with having people that believe in them and having a strong head coach that's not going to work against them.
Right.
So like Peyton was trying to sabotage him.
Absolutely.
I don't think he's going to lose that starting spot. I think Justin will come in in packages as he should.
Right.
Get him out there to run a little bit. And
Sure.
he can throw.
He can
so
throw.
It's not like, with Taysom Hill or like Tebow where
he's like a gimmick, right?
Yeah, it's not like that. Like he can legitimately threaten the defense to throw the ball. And I think they're going to bring him on the field for some of that stuff. He'll have packages. But I just think Russ, for what Tomlin wants to do, what their history has been, never had a losing season. He's like, I'm not experimenting and going to be losing games with some young cat at quarterback.
Absolutely.
He's got to earn that.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to
Never had a losing season.
Never.
In
the NFL.
In the NFL.
He's been there for 20 years.
20 years. Won a Super Bowl his first year. Yeah.
He had great quarterback play with Ben Roethlisberger, and then he ended up with no-name cats.
Right. You got Mason Rudolph.
Yeah.
Right.
So, again, coaching.
Coaching.
How do I put my team in the best situation to be successful when I know I ain't got no shot at quarterback? I got Chauncy at quarterback right now. We got to figure this out, and he does.
Yep.
To the tune of never having a losing season. Only missed the playoff a handful of times.
Right.
Like,
still winning seasons. Right.
Coaching.
Oh yeah.
And I was talking to Jim. I was actually texting Jim this morning. Do you have Netflix, right?
Yeah.
New show is coming out. It's called The Receiver.
I can't wait.
Justin Jefferson, Deebo Samuel,
George Kittle. Got two Niners representing.
Two Niners, right?
Bang, bang.
Bang, bang, Niner gang, right?
Yes, sir.
Yep. So I'm really excited to watch that. That's going to be premiering, I think tomorrow. Yep, Wednesday. And that's going to be exciting. Just to watch. They should have had CeeDee Lamb, though. I feel like they snubbed him.
Yeah. With it being a premier thing and not having a Cowboy was a miss. Especially with him having a year he had.
Absolutely.
But I think they probably came, they had to do the film during this season.
Right.
Right. So they probably didn't expect him to have as great a season as he had.
True.
So they're probably going off of the previous year where Debo went crazy and did all the crazy stuff he did, and George went crazy. And, Justin doing all the crazy stuff he was doing the first 3 years. So they probably are going based on historic information, not current.
Not
like
current.
What CD did this year. He had 125 catches and 1,700 yards, 13, 14 touchdowns.
Just amazing.
He went crazy.
Yeah. Right.
So if they do ever
he silenced all the doubters.
He'll be in there for sure.
He'll definitely be in there for sure.
Yeah, I was one of the doubters. I thought he was overrated.
Okay, like I guess so. Like I was kind of one of the doubters too. I'll be honest. Like I was just like, he's dropping the ball too much.
Yes.
For my liking. Yeah.
I think sometimes though, even as a coach, not an NFL coach, but somebody been around offense a long time, usually catches end up in drops because the receiver's pressing. They want to catch it too bad.
Yeah.
Like the ball's coming, they're like, and then it hits their hands and they drop it.
Yeah. And then
or if they know they're open.
Yeah, and they know they're open. Right.
Especially like in NFL, they know. Like, hey, if I run this slant, this linebacker blitz is literally a house call. Like they probably get like amped up before the snap.
Yeah.
And then when the ball comes, it's like. So I think part of that for him, and a lot of receivers have the drops early in the career, like
Jamar Chase. Oh yeah.
Jamar Chase.
Yep.
So they want to do well so bad and try to prove themselves that it ends up in drops. So this year I just think he was like, you know what? I'm that guy.
Right, exactly.
I ain't got to press.
I'm him.
I am him.
Right.
I'm just going to do my thing. I got Dak throwing me the ball. I'm getting all these targets. I ain't got to worry about
I'm wearing 88.
I'm wearing 88 in Dallas.
In Dallas.
So I just think he just matured and just kind of accepted who he is and played up to that potential.
I'm here for it. That's exciting.
For sure.
That's exciting.
But yeah, that's going to be a dope show. I also watched super random. Another show called Sprint.
Okay, I gotta check that out.
It's about track and field.
Oh, I love
very
that.
dope.
I love track and field.
Richardson and some prominent Jamaican sprinters.
Okay.
There's an English sprinter, and it's male and female.
Okay, so it's
pretty good. So
okay,
me and my lady, we sat down and watched it. So we learned a lot about sprinting sport, okay, track and field wise, and then also it's building up to the Olympics. So it was like all the preliminary events that they had to go through to qualify.
Yes,
pretty dope.
That's dope.
So that's the good one to watch.
Okay,
Sprint is good. I'm endorsing that one.
Oh, absolutely. I'm definitely watching that. That's definitely on my to watch list.
Yeah. Absolutely. So we got a couple of hours or whatever. Watch it. That's a good one.
For sure. I'll download that for the flight.
There you go. Yep, it'd be perfect right on the flight.
Right on the flight.
Get that in 3.5 hours. You'll be good to go.
I'll be good to go.
Oh yeah.
All right, Jim. Any last questions for Coach here? Because I know we're kind of bumping up against the time. A little bit.
We're good though.
Good. Okay.
Oh, I have plenty of questions, but no. I have plenty of questions, but you know what? I'd rather save them for the second. If Coach comes back on, I'd rather save something for them for that time. I do want to say this. I appreciate you coming and taking your time out of your day to come do this podcast with us. Hopefully, we don't scare you off for doing any other podcast or anything else like this in the future. But coming in, it's always fun to pick the mind of a coach who comes in, especially one who's transferring one school to another, and how they have to adapt to a new situation of everything and all that. So I do appreciate you coming onto the show with us.
And likewise, like I say, when I had the opportunity presented for me to come on the show, I was very, very honored and grateful that you guys would consider me to be a guest. So I appreciate you guys allowing me on your podcast and on your platform, and I don't take that lightly. So, if you guys ever have the need or the desire for me to come back, I'd be honored.
You're definitely. Hey, you're always welcome, brother. Absolutely. Cool. Yeah, but in regards to do you watch I don't know, we're sports junkies here. But
yeah.
You watch the Copa America. I know Team USA is out. Do you watch a little football?
I watch it. Football.
Let's
make sure we clarify that.
Football. Yeah.
So no, honestly, I haven't watched a ton. One of my sons is big into sports. The sport.
Into that sport.
Football, soccer.
Yeah.
And we did watch one of the United States games, and they lost. But I haven't followed much since then.
Okay. Right now, it looks like Argentina is going to be the heavy favorite, especially with Messi being like one of the greatest players on the planet. Unless you're from France and you're probably saying Kylian Mbappe is going to be the best player. But right now it looks like Canada and Argentina are set to kick off this week, and then also Uruguay and Colombia. So my guess for the final on Sunday, it's going to be Argentina and either Colombia or Uruguay, which I think is going to be Colombia. I think Colombia's just been playing really well. But that comes back to 2 years from now. The World Cup's going to be in the U.S. And then I did my homework,
Okay.
Jim, because you did mention the top three sporting events that I would want to go to. And I want to also relay that to you, the top three sporting events that you would want to attend. Number one, or I should start number three. Number three, I would say for me personally, number three would be the World Series. I'm a big Cubs fan, and I think that would be really cool to get to a World Series game. Number two would be a Super Bowl. Go to the Vikings Super Bowl. I know that might happen someday, but we're close. We got Justin Jefferson, we got JJ, and just hoping and praying it happens. And then number one would be the World Cup. World Cup would definitely be going to a World Cup final. That would be definitely the number one sporting event. But I'll let you go, Coach, in regards to your top three sporting events.
So I broker at my company. I'm a Bridge Realty.
Bridge Realty, cool.
Yep, and he's an avid, like, the way we're football junkies, like that's how he is about football.
Soccer, yeah.
Okay, so he actually goes over. He's from Iran.
He's from Iran, okay.
Okay, and he goes over there wherever they are in that region, and they got the big tournaments and whatever going on,
right,
events.
Right.
He always goes every year.
Yes.
So he's told me on many occasions, like, dude, whatever you think football is, and like the most crazy environment
yes.
that you can imagine in a football game, it's 10 times for soccer, football.
Yeah, right.
And so I kind of did some, watching some stuff on YouTube
watch
here and there.
YouTube,
And I'm
right.
like, whoa.
Stadium shaking. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like some videos of the stadium shaking and how passionate the fans are. And like, I want to be a part of that.
Oh, for
so
sure.
if it was a situation where just for the sports fan and the experience in the environment, I would love to participate and watch a World Cup game. That'd be great.
Oh, yeah.
Super Bowl will be another, of course.
Of course.
Ideally, Super Bowl with the Niners going again.
Going
and
again.
Freaking winning.
Right.
And then I would say probably number three, it's another Niner thing.
Niner, okay.
But I would love to go to a Niners home game against Seattle.
Ooh, yes. That would be a great rivalry
That's a
game.
thing.
That's a thing.
And an honorable mention, it would be Niners versus Raiders.
Ooh. Niners versus Raiders. Okay,
It's
the
a
Bay
real-
Area.
It's a real.
Yeah, but now it's Vegas.
Yeah,
But
it's
just the A area. Yeah,
whether
Bay
they were
Area.
in Oakland or LA or Vegas, they still the Raiders.
They still the
We
Raiders.
still don't like them Bulls.
Yeah.
So the beef is going to be
The beef's gonna be there.
forever
Forever.
for eternity.
Absolutely.
Right? So that would be my top 3-4 options for sporting events. The thing that's cool about sports, dude,
Okay.
we've all been there.
Yeah.
You go to a basketball game, baseball game. It could be the St. Paul Saints. It could be a high school game.
Yeah, high school.
Ain't nothing like live competitive sport.
Nothing like it.
Dude, I went to my daughter's. She played basketball for Harding.
Okay.
And St. Paul.
St. Paul. Yeah.
She ain't Paige Buchers or nothing like that.
Okay.
It's just a casual ninth
She's
grade
not like
JV.
Is she like Adrian Peterson's daughter?
No.
No.
But my point is,
okay, good. Your point is,
it's a random like Thursday night
sure.
JV basketball, and they were playing one of their rivals, and it was lit.
It was lit in there. Okay.
JV. It wasn't even a varsity game.
It was JV.
And it was
It
turned
was hyped.
up,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
That's the part about sports.
I love that.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, it don't matter who's playing.
Yeah.
I didn't have a dog in the fight. I mean, I want my kids' team to win or whatever, but I don't really care.
Right.
I'm not leaving there in a bad mood because
Exactly.
they lost. Like,
Right,
it's
right.
whatever.
It's whatever.
It's basketball.
They're having fun.
But, dude, I found myself completely up in the game.
Yeah.
Bitch pumping
They suck you in. Right.
Defense. Stomping on the bleachers.
Right.
It's like, dude,
Yeah.
that's the beautiful thing about sports. So anytime, even little kids, soccer games.
Yeah.
Anytime the sport gets going, that competitive juice, man, that environment, the camaraderie, us versus them,
Yes.
that thing gets going. I'm there for it.
That's
I'm
what's up.
there for it, 100%.
That's what's up.
Oh yeah.
All right. So Jim, do you like does that successfully complete that that question that you had for I guess for the show last time?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Oh yeah. We're winding down here on the 94 podcast. Do appreciate you, Coach. Definitely. We just had a great conversation, just learning a little bit about you and your program, and then also your taste in regards to sports. It just, it's definitely it's infectious in regards to like what we've learned and what we're seeing, and excited to actually attend a Hopkins Royals game coming up. So definitely we'll take you up on that, and looking forward to the VIP treatment and being treated like a Royal. So I appreciate that.
Oh, yeah. You got it, man. You got it. And this one last time, thank you guys for allowing me to be on here. Hey, you got a fan, a new subscriber to the podcast for sure. What I would love to do is share it with my little bit of influence, people that follow me on Instagram, Facebook, whatever. We have a great social media manager for our team. So I would love to have her get wind of this, and have her do her thing to get you guys out there, help you guys with spreading your message, because this is a
we'll collaborate.
Yeah, this is a good podcast, and I want to see you guys continue to grow. And one day I might be able to say, hey, man, I knew those guys, man, when you got the top 5 podcasts out there and the platforms and things and putting up numbers, getting your Club Shay numbers up there.
Right.
I'll be able to say, man, I knew those dudes, man. I got his number in my phone.
Yo, absolutely. Just a call away.
For sure.
Thank
you, guys. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. That's been the 94 podcast. Until next time, Jim, we'll see you, and Coach, we'll see you at the TOP. And we're out.